Peter? Peter? I think your volume's on. Or yours or Chris's. It keeps beeping. No, your computer. Your emails.
I haven't heard anything from her, so I'm not sure. Okay, Gary, you're good. All right. Okay, we'll call the January meeting of the Town of Mount Pleasant Planning Commission open. Thanks for everyone's attendance. I'll go over our procedure in just a little while. It looks like we've got a quorum. I'll ask for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Mr. Smythe, second by Ms. Island. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is approved, and the same for the minutes of the last meeting. Is there a motion to approve those? Any amendments or questions, edits to those minutes? If not, okay, Gary has moved to approve them. Is there a second? Mr. Smythe has seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Stone, Planning Commission recommendations update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Town Council decisions from January 2026. The first reading to rezone the bank at 3305 North Highway 17 from R1 to AB1, that was approved. Had first reading on 1490 Bostonville Road, zone it to community conservation. Annexation was also approved. First reading on the zoning to R3 at 602 Rifle Range, that was denied, so that will terminate the application. The first reading to rezone from AB1 to R2, the 1306 Erkman Drive site with a single-family home, that was approved. Probably help if you could see it. Yeah. And then final readings. There was the ordinance to amend the automatic designation of rural neighborhood properties to RC2. Final reading also occurred on rural residential and the development standards and density being 1 unit per 3 acres. And final reading also occurred in ordinance to review vested rights extensions. That'll be something that we'll be talking about later, but a duty that Planning Commission will be taking on. And finally, Michelle has been working hard to coordinate public input and building area ratio and amendments to the accessory uses and structures ordinance. The last last Wednesday, a meeting was held at Hember Hall, and just going through that public input and categorizing it and deciphering that. So that is the extent of the updates from Town Council.
Great, thank you. I think there was, I actually attended the session at Alhambra Hall last week, and it was well attended, so I was glad to see the community participating. Just confirming that we received all the correspondence within the time allowances per policy.
Yes, sir.
Great, we had quite a bit, so hopefully all the commission members had a chance to review those letters. Now's the time for public comment. So if you're not familiar with our meetings, we have really two opportunities for people to speak on various issues. First, if you're here specific to one of the proposals or public hearing items on the agenda, I'd urge you to speak specific to that particular agenda item. But if there are other comments you'd like to make or issues of a more general nature, now would be the time to do that. The process is we'd invite you up. You have 2.5 minutes to speak, and it's important that you state your name and your address for the record. So if there's anyone for the general public comment period, if you have comments, you're welcome to do so now. And if you would, need to make sure the microphone's on, which I think it is, but if you would speak into the mic, that would be helpful. So, A,
Can you hear me?
but also for recording. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. My name is Jerry Eddings. I live on Rose Lane in the Old Village. And the issue that I came to speak about is probably going to be taken up later, but I just wanted to mention now that I am very concerned about one issue that I have very little information about. So partly I'm here for information about a proposal for a zoning change on May Lane, which is a very tiny lane, and is traffic is an issue, emergency vehicles are an issue. And when this issue comes up, I assume that there'll be a chance for public comment on specific topics. Okay. At that time, I will have more to say, but just wanted to make sure that we would have an opportunity to speak about that later.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Eddings. Anyone else to speak about any topic? Yes, sir.
You speak through here?
Yes, and your name and address for the record. Yes, sir.
Well, my name is Master Rockman. My parents live on 109 Mill Lane. They had that residence since, I think, 1957. And that is a little small area. And like, for emergencies, like they said, and stuff like that. And I have a question. I'm not familiar with it, but they're planning on changing the area into commercial. I'm asking a question.
I'm not able to respond to direct questions, but I think that will come up a little bit later on in the agenda.
Okay, because I don't know. So I'm asking that for a reason. If they were to do that, would they have dual zoning for like residents and for the newcomers for commercial?
Again, we can't respond to direct questions, but I think those issues will be answered when we address that particular agenda item a little bit later this evening.
Okay,
All right?
that's all.
Thank you. Anyone else for the general public comment portion of the meeting tonight? Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting. We'll go to our first item, item 7A, a public hearing for 1651 Highway 41.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is one that you saw last month that has been properly advertised and is requesting annexation and community conservation zoning. As you can see here, this is the 1.24 acre parcel, and water and sewer is not only readily available for this site, but it is already connected to this site. So the site is fully hooked up to water and sewer as of today, and it is in the county, zoned S3, furthermore, it's in the Phillips Community Historic District designation. So the request is to annex and zone into the town CC, Community Conservation, which, as you know, would be very similar to the county's version of S3. So that is the request for zoning. Annexation will be taken up by committee and council, but for zoning, I'm glad to answer any questions you might have.
Questions at this time for Mr. Stone? We've talked about these rezoning requests a number of times over the last few months, so it sounds like this one's similar.
Quick question. I believe I checked into this, and I think I'm correct in assuming, but I think there's currently a HVAC business or something operating out of this residence. Is that public knowledge, or is that a guess?
I believe that in speaking with the county, that has been a code enforcement issue that they have had to address.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone here to speak on this matter.
Yes, my name is Richard Habersham. I'm the president of the Phillips Community Association at 2938 Bennett Charles Road. At the last meeting, y'all didn't advertise this thing because the sound was put out at, I think, about 12 o'clock the same day y'all had the meeting. And we didn't have a chance to see anything at the last meeting. But the problem we have with this parcel is that we are on a National Historical Register. And if you take this out of the Phillip, you take it out of the Charleston County Historical Zone, but it'll still be under the National Register. Is y'all plan to put this under the Town of Mount Pleasant Registry Historical Commission? Because CC is a little bit different. Because anything that happens in Phillip, the county do notify anybody within that area by email. And we do have a chance to, to comment on this. CC y'all don't do that. Y'all don't notify the resident in the area. And also, like I said about running that heating and air business in that area. We have one problem now on Joe Rouse Road. This guy came in as a landscaper. He got a full-blown business over there, and he had problems with him. And in the past, and we don't want that to happen. That's why we went under the historical designation, so we can curtail some of this. The people who buy property in the community, and don't get me wrong, we don't have a problem with people buying property or selling property. It's the use of the property that we have a problem with, and that's what some of the people comes in. They want to change zoning and they want to do other things that we don't want in the community. So annex it in the town. And we've seen in the past with Sweetgrass Basket overlay district, when you change the zoning and it goes into town, the uses change all total. So we want you to deny this annexation. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Diane Tyndall Sutton, and I reside in the Phillips community at 2952 Bobo Road, and I too am opposed to the zoning change in Phillips for the same reason stated by Mr. Habersham. And I would love for you all to consider not doing that.
Anyone else on this matter? I just realized a moment ago that I strayed from procedure. Is there someone here to representing the applicant to speak to this project?
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Discussion?
Yeah, so I have a question. Can you just refresh my memory, Peter, on what CC would allow?
Hold on. I need to close the comment period. That's okay. I'm sorry. I am doing that now. So no more comments. Okay, Mr.
Okay, just to refresh my memory, can you tell me again what CC allows, what the zoning would permit?
So that would be, it's mostly centered on the development standards of the lot. So 12,500 square foot lots, 3 units an acre, and you would find it predominantly in settlement community areas, and it also allows for a little bit more flexible development pattern, as historically these areas have developed, and it's very interesting. It's a very culturally rich story, seeing how this has developed, and we've used CC to mimic that and try to enforce and allow that development pattern to continue.
Okay.
Ms. Ireland? Okay.
Sorry. Just to clarify a couple things in case anybody in the audience doesn't know. First of all, we don't deal on the commission with annexation of the property into the town. We only are asked about the zoning, a rezoning, in the event that it annexes in. And the second thing is that we make recommendations for these matters. This is going to go one way or the other to the committee on council and then to town council, and they make the final decision. So, if you're concerned about anything after this and you want to go, you should go to the town council or the committee meeting and express that to them or write them as well. My thoughts about this are, we've dealt with this kind of issue several times in the past, and so my answer remains the same. The CC mimics the same kind of zoning that the county has, but the zoning in the county has a historic protection overlay that they are very close to adopt, or maybe they have adopted, and they've got some details to work out. So my feeling is that this would be premature. We don't have a mirror image of that, and we need to protect the settlement communities. So I would move to deny.
Well, and Ms. Ireland, your comments were sort of a prelude to a question I wanted to ask staff, and that is whether there's any update with respect to establishment of a historic preservation sort of district designation for Phillips and possibly other settlement communities in the area.
I'm sorry, just a moment. Miss Ireland, was that a motion?
No, I will move, but I have not moved.
Thank you.
That's a good question. We have been coordinating with the county, and we have been pretty aggressively marking up. We have a copy of the 10-mile overlay district that we're using as a model, and we're marking up and looking at all from all angles. And so we're currently in the research and design of how we would go about implementing this.
Okay. Well, that's good to know that there's been progress, and I assume that there's been conversation with representatives of the settlement communities themselves too for their input. So I think that's a step in the right direction. Would achieve what I think Pam is at least implied, at some point in the future, right? So, okay.
I have one question for
Sure.
staff. So if there is a discrepancy in the current use and what they're requesting to be zoned, why would the town allow that zoning to happen if they're not complying with the zoning they are requesting?
Trying to understand
You said that Charleston County is dealing with a non-compliance issue.
correct.
So if you annex it, then you're inheriting that. Why would the town do that?
It happens often. I think in some cases Charleston County encourages them to annex in the town, so it's
Wow.
I've seen it happen.
Somebody else's problem.
Yeah. So it does become our code enforcement issue, but it is a pretty good indicator that CC is the zoning that it would automatically get if it annexed in. So it would be, I guess I would take probe it more in the direction of it would be properly zoned, but there are some code enforcement issues on the site.
So I guess the more direct question is, there's nothing in our town laws that require them to like be in compliance when they're annexing?
It's we inherit that problem.
Part of the issue too is that, I don't know why, but it's showing in the county as a vacant lot. So
okay.
there's some discrepancy there too.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, real quick, Peter, just to give you more questions. So CC, what I think I remember is very limited as far as any commercial use allowed in CC, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So it mirrors, for the most part, the county's S3 zoning for residential, and it's for this area. I mean, that's the recommendation for future land use would be CC. If they just applied for annexation, do they have to apply for rezoning along with that?
They don't have to. It would be automatically assigned to them.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for staff? If not, Ms. Arlen, it sounded like you were getting close to making a motion.
Sure, I'll move to deny.
Motion's been made to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We'll say that Mr. Smythe seconded. We had multiple seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's denied, or the proposal's denied. Okay. Item 7B, a public hearing for 3759 North Highway 17.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and my name is Chris Lieber from the Planning Department. I'll be taking you through the next couple of zoning requests. So as you mentioned, this is a request to annex and zone conservation recreation open space. This site here is the one starred that you can see on the map ahead of you. And to give you a little more context, if this map were zoomed out, you would have Carolina Park or Darrell Creek Trail up towards the top left of this map. And then here's Leven Road. If you're familiar with our infrastructure, this is our Leven Road facility there. It's currently zoned in the county, commercial under the 10-mile community overlay district. And the future land use under our comprehensive plan would be settlement community. And so I realize this is likely an odd request. You don't see a lot of CRO or conservation recreation open space. So I want to give you guys a little more context about the uses allowed in that, and also kind of the development standards beyond those uses. So as you can see on the left side there, I've highlighted, and that's not all of the uses, but I've pulled out a couple uses from the 10-mile community overlay, and then I've also shown you some recreation space allowed uses as well. And if you look closely at the application that the applicant provided, you notice the project name was Golden Times Campground, so you can probably assume something like that is what you're going to see, which is an allowed use for this space. If that were to come to fruition, they would still be required to go through our internal design review team and any other processes for review. And then again, lot standards you can see on the left, that's within the county. On the right side, again, there's no lot standards, just put in there the purpose. So it's important to understand the purpose of this zoning district. Provide improved public, private recreation activities, and providing a community-wide network of open space, buffer zones, recreation spaces, and also to ensure the preservation of conservation, recreation, again, of open space. And so that is the request before you today, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Questions for staff? Anybody? Ms. Arlen, you know the code, or the comprehensive plan better than anyone I'm familiar with. What do you think in terms of?
I guess what I would, it's settlement community, but I haven't, to my knowledge, we don't have any opposition by anyone from 10 Mile unless people are here to speak about that tonight. So I'm inclined not to worry too much about it if there's not been any, because it's open, it's generally open space, campground.
One of the things that was interesting to me, though, about the request is how, there's a good bit of road frontage there. It's really narrow.
It is.
For the most part. So then I was asking myself, well, what use really could be made of the property? And I'm as most of you know, I'm usually a rural advocate for open space and recreational space because, you know, it's really precious in our community as it's grown over the years. So, but anyway, this parcel in itself is just the way it's laid out is fairly narrow by comparison to some of the other parcels. So I didn't know whether that's a factor in our decision making or not. But, so.
Well, we should probably have a public hearing. And then
Yeah,
I'll
we will.
some
Yeah.
comments.
Any questions for staff?
I guess I had a question. You had mentioned there would be a review process for someone who wanted to make this a campground.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so now would be the time for anyone interested in speaking on this particular agenda item to speak. Do we have the applicant here tonight? Okay.
Interesting.
Seeing no one, I will close the public comment period on this particular item. Okay.
One comment that I have is, I mean, I'm not so concerned about a campground. I would prefer that to someone coming and trying to build houses. Although, you know, I am usually very deferential to the Settlement Community Association and the residents, so we just haven't heard from them. But the one thing that I noticed, and I actually asked Mr. Stone a couple of days ago just for more information about this, is I looked at the permitted uses under CRO, so Conservation, Recreation, Open. All of them are great, except one of them is community residence. And in looking at that, there's no, that's like it could be like a halfway house or a, you know, that, I don't know any other word for that, but that sort of thing, like a rehab with halfway house. And there's no condition that it be a certain amount of open space. So it doesn't seem to make sense in the CR. There is a CR and then there's a CRO, which is open space. And the only thing that concerns me is that although someone can propose what they want to do here, the property can also be sold. And it can be sold and then any permitted use is, you know, is a go, no matter what. So that's the only kind of weird thing about it. I don't think this is amenable really to that kind of facility, but it just struck me because I've never looked into the CRO designation before. That sort of zone, it's not very often used.
Yep. That's a good caution. Thank you for that.
Was that also is that a use in the CR as well?
I think so. I think it is. Yeah, I'll look it up because I brought my.
Or maybe we ask the staff. I mean, is that something a permissible use?
Yes, that's
It is.
permissible use. It's permissible in every zoning district too.
Okay. And tell us a little bit more about that designation because, yeah, I'm not as familiar as I'd like to be.
Yeah, and Miss Ireland pretty much hit the nail on the head there. It is a state requirement. There's certain criteria they'll have to meet with the state, and it's laid out in the state code. I'm not as familiar with it, but it is something that's in every zoning district. It's kind of, they'll make the request to us as a municipality, and there's certain procedures they'll have to take.
Okay, so there would be, similar to some of the other questions earlier, there would be a process for making that decision as to whether that was a permitted use. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I was just being familiar with commercial real estate development. I think it is very narrow in nature, and you're going to reach likely some, Mr. Perry can attest to this, likely some auto turn issues with fire trucks and life safety ambulance and things of that nature. It is interesting though, they've got this street, this cul-de-sac, this potential other street. So I think there's some good circulation that could happen with this, and it appears to me as they're trying to, I'm speculating, right, clean up the site, increase a little bit of the value, make it less of an eyesore. So I think there's some goodwill there on the owner's part trying to do that. So for that reason, I like the proposed annexation.
Okay.
CRO.
Or not annexation, but the zoning, the rezoning. Yeah.
Rezoning, excuse me.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments?
Mr. Ferraro, was that a motion?
Just a comment.
Thank you.
Really,
Where the Cox Tree Service is it next to this? And
But-
where is that? It's on this site.
It's on the site.
It's on that site?
Yeah.
That is, so they're not using it for Cox Tree Service?
No, they are.
They are.
They're repurposing it. Okay.
It's more of a lay down yard right now.
Yeah.
It's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I think this time of year they sell firewood and that kind of thing. But yeah, to Adam's point, I think mostly it's a place for their trucks and equipment. Well, yeah.
And just if I could, Mr. Chair, just to follow up, I personally, CRO seems very restrictive, so I think they're asking for a zoning that's very restrictive. They're in between town property and a right of way, and then they're bound by a right of way on the tail end. So I think, it doesn't really scare me. I think they're asking for a very restrictive zoning, and again, they've got to go through design review board for any proposed development use.
Right.
So,
Okay. Well, good. It sounds like there's some general consensus on this, at least directionally. Do we? I'm sorry.
My only concern is like a campground can be very different things. It can be very green and open, or it could be a bunch of concrete pads for RVs to park on. So I would just hope that the town in their review process, uses their discretion.
Okay. Anybody want to care to make a motion? Mr. Crawford, maybe?
I would say I'd like to make a motion to approve as requested.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Smythe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, great. Item 7C, a public hearing for 0 May Lane. One of the attendees tonight has already questioned about this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as you mentioned, this request is to rezone from AB1, area-wide business, which is a commercial district, and rezone to a residential use, specifically R2. And to give you context, there are the aerials. If you recall, last year you reviewed 106 May, which came under a similar circumstance. And as you can see there, it is currently a commercial zoning, and they are requesting R2. And you see 106 May down there, and then across the street there of May Lane of all R2 zoning. The future land use has it under community scale commercial. And again, so I took this slide from the original one at 106 May. I think this shows a good job of kind of, while you see the future land use map shows a lot of this as commercial uses, it's actual, a lot of it is being utilized as residential, almost 50-50, especially if you approve this request. So the similarities here too, with 106 May Lane, that was currently an existing residential use. As you can see in the GIS image, there's a house there. This one, as you can tell, is vacant. That's the big difference there. And also I put up there the square footage. So 106 May, you're about 0.14 acres. This one's a little smaller, about 1.11 acres. So you can tell, and I highlighted there on the left side, the Coleman Boulevard overlay district, specific to the village scale pedestrian standards. Basically what their setbacks are going to be, 20-foot setback off May Lane. You would also have parking requirements that would make it difficult to develop this as a commercial property without aggregating it into one of the neighboring properties. And that is the request before you tonight. And I believe the applicant is here to speak towards it. Yes, sir.
Okay. But before, please come on up, sir. Are there questions for staff before the applicant speaks?
I have one, just to refresh my memory. What's 106 zoned as? Is it R1 or R2?
R2.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. If you would, state your name for the record and address.
Sure. My name's John Rice, and my address is 2147 Parkway Drive in Charleston. And so, yeah, I'm the applicant, and I would, from hearing the residents' concerns, I would, echo their sentiment of not wanting to develop more commercial on that street, and that's the direction we're going, wanting to go. And so, I think, changing the use to residential would be in line with their sentiment. So,
and the intent is, I suppose, is to build a home.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Gotcha. All right. Questions for the applicant while we have them? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So again, this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone to speak on this topic, now would be the time. 0 May Lane. Ms. Eddings.
Hello again.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I just want a clarification about R2. I think it is a wonderful idea for that space to be zoned residential. I just want to make sure I understand whether R2 is residential, meaning a single-family home, as opposed to multiple structures like we have at the other end of May Lane, Rose Wilder Lane, because the concern is the density in that small lane. So this might be in line with my thinking, but I just want to be sure that is the case.
So technically, we're not allowed to respond to questions. However, we can ask staff to provide a little bit of a backgrounder on that particular matter, but I think you'll be pleased.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Barry Newton, and my wife and I are the current owners of the property. For the last 8 years, it has been rented out to a kayak company that put the kayaks on trailers and carried it down the Shim Creek, and it encouraged the public to come down the narrow May Lane. So we are now selling the property, and we agree that a single-family home would be the best designation for the property.
Great. Thanks for that background, sir. That's very helpful. Anyone else to speak on this matter? If there's anyone else beyond, I think, this gentleman, then I'd encourage you to sort of be prepared so we can
line up.
Yeah, move things along. Yep. And again, sir, you have 2.5 minutes, and if you would state your name and
my name is
home address for the record.
Okay.
Yes.
My name is Frederick Gathers, and I've been living in May Lane for over 50 years. Okay. And I'd like to say that the place is getting really, really crowded. And from what I'm understanding is they're planning on putting more like condos in the area. And I'd just like to get some kind of understanding on it.
Okay. Yep. And again, we're not able to respond directly to your question, but I think that staff will be able to answer that particular one here in a few moments. But I think you'll be pleased.
Okay. Because I just wanted to let it be known that I oppose that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anyone else to speak on this topic? Yes, ma'am.
Can I speak?
Yes. You state your name and address for the record.
My name is Velma Wright Dickerson. I live own the property next door to where they're planning to build. I just want to know if it's going to be a single family home. Is it going to be units of homes? The area is very congested now. Single family home, yes. It's a very small area, very tight knit for anything other than a family home rather than a building complex. Okay?
Thank you. Anyone else on this matter? Yes, sir.
Dwayne Gathers, 109 May Lane. That property's been in our family since 1957, I think, way before I was born. But what we do notice is it's a very congested road. You can only have a single car come down the lane at one time.
Sure.
And our concern is if a fire truck or emergency vehicle needs to come down, it's tight enough already to where they're not going to be able to turn around. There was a residence once that had some renters that had a boat, and I tried to come down the road, and I had to wait until they basically went to the end of the road, tried to turn around. So I had to end up waiting like 15-20 minutes just to get to our family home. So we just asked that the board consider that. There's also houses that are at the end of the road when you make a right that live there, but they have a different address than May Lane. They actually have a Rose Lane address. So I just asked that the board kind of take a look at the maps and look at those things too.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment period on this matter. If you would, if you sort of explain the R2 designation a little bit, that'll be helpful to everybody, I think.
Yes, sir. So the R2 district will only allow for a single detached house dwelling. They'll still be within the neighborhood preservation overlay district. They'll still meet all those zoning requirements as well as far as impervious surface, stuff like that. But there'll only be one dwelling unit on there if approved as presented tonight.
Right. And remind everyone too about the parking requirements on a square footage basis for even small properties. I think that may address some of the concerns that the residents have as well.
Yeah, they'll with houses will still have parking requirements. Are you referring to commercial?
Yeah, that's right. For a home, yes.
For a home, yeah. So they'll have one parking space required on site for that, and then if they do have an ADU down the line, they'll have another parking space for that.
Okay,
yes, sir.
Got it. Okay. Any other questions for staff or discussion? Open it up for discussion.
So it seems to me that the residents are okay. My sense is that the residents are okay if we rezone this for a single-family home. And that's it, right? There's other than a single-family home, nothing else would be permitted on this property if it's rezoned?
There's other allowed uses on the principal use table, but it'd be consistent with R2. And this is things like the community residence we talked about before, amenity buildings, but basically what you're seeing in R2 district is going to be detached house dwelling, and I believe that's what the applicant
Mr. Davis, given the modest size of this particular lot, those other possible uses are impractical. They're just not going to happen.
I was just curious.
Okay. Yeah.
One more question for staff. Thank you. I guess for everybody in the audience and here, can you remind us the pervious versus impervious area of that residential lot being roughly under 5,000 square feet? What's the percentage of density of the home?
So for the impervious surface coverage, if it was exactly 5,000 feet, about 2,000 impervious surface coverage is going to be the limit, and that counts driveways, everything that water cannot penetrate.
So 40% of the lot would be buildable in essence.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
that's a great point, Mr. Farr. So
just a great scale
for the audience to if you're not following along, the largest home that could be constructed on this property would be 1,800, 1,900 square feet, something like
per
that.
floor.
Per floor, right? It's a very, very modest in size. The footprint would be very modest in size.
And just to add to that, I'm looking at the zoning code right here too. For R2, the front setback is 25 feet, the rear setback is 25 feet, and the sides are 10 or 20 combined. So this would be what?
I think this is a special overlay, so those are all reduced.
So it would be reduced? The
So-
setbacks are reduced here?
The overlay before the zoning change in May 1st used to reduce the front yard setback to 15 feet for the building foundation. At this time, how this code reads, that 10 extra feet is for front porch, basically open additions, no closed foundation type structures.
That's fine. Yeah, and just as comparing the R1 district, which is a single family, the sort of highest level single family, detached is 35% building coverage. This is 40%. So, not a tremendous amount of difference.
Okay.
And just to comment, I typically do not like to change commercial properties to residential. That's kind of my standard. We need to keep the commercial. I am making exceptions for this particular road because of the access and because of the residents that are there. So it would be an exception. I don't want anyone to think in this whole area that we're looking to change all of the commercial properties to residential. That will not be that slippery of a slope. So.
Okay. Can I entertain a motion?
I'd love to make a motion to approve the request.
Great. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Smythe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Great, thank you. Item 7D, public hearing again for Children's and Old Georgetown Road.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request on 7 parcels, either on Children Road or Old Georgetown Road. And in aggregate, we're talking about 5.12 acres. And the applicant has made it clear that water and sewer is readily available, and they would like to annex in order to connect into that water and sewer. So the important thing to note is that this is in the county right now, and it's zoned S3, and it kind of straddles the 6 mile, 7 mile boundary, but it does not have a historic designation on it. So qualitatively, it is a like for like. I understand the first agenda item, the distinction made there, but qualitatively, this is a like for like CC S3 exchange. So this would be requesting CC zoning and remaining in the Sweetgrass Basket Overlay District for these 7 parcels. And I did want to point out the contiguity because that is important. The reason this is one big agenda item is because these parcels are contingent on one another. Number 1 gives you connectivity to 2, 3, 4. Number 5, that's your point of contiguity to 6 and 7. So this is being handled as you couldn't annex in number 3 without having 1 and 2 first. So this is kind of an all or nothing vote. So that is the request before you for these 7 parcels, and the applicant is not here. They're currently at work, but
Okay.
Mr. German, sir. All right, great.
You're doing a fine job.
Come on up, sir. We'd like to hear from you. Yeah, if you've got more to add, we always invite the applicants to speak to us directly, if at all possible. So thank you.
He's taking care of it. Anyway, my name is Cleveland German. I live at 2355 Old Georgetown Road, and this is basically family property. It's been in there for years, and we decided to join the town because of the amenities and other things that we could benefit from. So, unless you have a question for me, I'm good with what's going on.
Great. Any questions for Mr. Jones?
No.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are you the applicant too?
So I'm actually on the other side of the street at 1138.
We're not quite ready for public comment. Okay. Hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second. Stand by. Yep, stand by. You're going to be asked to come up in just seconds. Are there questions for staff before we open the public comment period? All right. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address for the record.
Jamel Betterson, 1138 Children Road. So I'm across the street, and I'm seeing that this is only affecting the other side of the street, not my side of the street. I'm exactly adjacent to number 7.
Okay, yes.
And so my question, when Pamela mentioned rezoning once you annex in, my question is, if you annex in, the town can come back and want to rezone? That was my question. Like, how does rezoning affect once you're annexed in?
Okay. And we'll ask staff maybe to address that in a moment, but thanks for the question.
That's all. Sure.
Anyone else during the public comment period on this particular topic? Seeing none, we will close the public comment period. Okay, questions for staff, or staff, you may want to address some of the questions that were just raised.
Sure. I don't. I mean, this would be the automatic zoning designation that would be placed on these properties, and I don't foresee a reason that we would ever rezone, especially since the comprehensive plan recommends this zoning.
Yeah.
The one thing that could occur in the future is the overlay district, and working with the community, we could expand into 6 mile, 7 mile, and develop historic districts and trying to keep up with the county. So that would be something that would be done in coordination with the community rather than just a council action to rezone a property. I don't believe that would happen.
It strikes me as this would be advantageous to a residential neighbor. So if that addresses your concern.
Right, so it's not, because it's currently CC, not S3 or S2. Is that right? It's currently a CC zone, which is community conservation, I don't know what that is. It's not
I
a
think the
conservation.
question is just the conversion from county to town.
Town, yeah.
Yeah, just the
I can ask
Can you
you to
address it?
confirm
Yeah.
for me.
correct. It would just be jurisdiction.
Yeah,
Right.
that it's, so if, as currently in the county, it's S3, when it comes in, even if we did nothing, but if we rezone, if we agree to the rezoning, it comes in as CC, which is the exact same zoning designation as
S3, yeah.
And it's not in a historic overlay, area. And I went by there and went up Children Road and down Old Georgetown, and there's Fulton Hall, there's that whole sort of swath there. Seems consistent with this sort of parcel designation, so it seems to make sense to me.
Yeah, I would agree with Ms. Ireland. Any other comments or discussion? Ms. Ireland, you care to make a motion?
Sure, I'll move to approve.
Second by Mr. Smythe. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion again carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is 7E, a public hearing for White Flat Road.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. These are two parcels on the corner of White Flat and Bowman. Both of these are around a quarter of an acre each, and they are currently zoned OP2. And I do unfortunately feel the need to interject some background information on this. The 1242 White Flat Road, up until 2019, that was a single-family home that was zoned R1, pretty consistent with the remainder of White Flat Road. In 2020, some unpermitted work occurred, and this is what is currently on the site. The property owner wanted to correct this and rezone the property to OP2, and that wasn't necessarily, that is not where the end is, because you then have to bring the building into compliance. Let's go through building plan review, design review, and I believe in 2023 they went to BOZA with 6 variance requests.
Wow.
And unfortunately those were denied, and I believe the property owners kind of walked away from the property, distanced themselves. But that is why we have our current request. The applicant is requesting to walk it back toward residential, requesting R3 on these lots. And that would be consistent with the comprehensive plan stating that mixed neighborhood. I guess it'll be up to the commission to determine whether that mixture is to be happening in a kind of a siloed development, because here you have the Central Square multifamily, this is Bowman Woods, you have the townhouse, and here you have single family. That'll be up to commission to determine if the comprehensive plan is, the intent of it is being met with R3. So that is the current request before you, to rezone these two parcels to R3.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so mixed neighborhood, yeah, again, if you would go back one page just to remind everyone of the various zoning districts and uses there. So, and it could be multifamily or townhouse.
I have a question. Question for you, Peter. Since all of the houses on White Flat Road are zoned R1, and Bowman Woods is a separate community, did they contemplate R1, or why are they asking for R3?
Right.
It certainly, R3 certainly gives you more of an opportunity to develop the property. I believe the square footage minimum is 4,000, and with R1 is 10,000 square foot minimum. So there's a lot more flexibility with R3 and the diversity of housing types that would be afforded under R3. So that would probably be why.
Is the star on the left not is just vacant, and the star on the right is the one where the
correct
vertical structure is.
Okay,
that's correct.
Both, right? Aren't they asking for 2 parcels?
Correct.
No, I understand. I just
this is the vacant property.
So I intimated that could be the reason they're doing that, is to try to get a better tasting lemonade out of this situation.
Yeah. Okay. So is the applicant here to speak to us? Yes, sir, if you would. Eager to hear from you.
Good evening. My name is Jason Fabrizio. I live at 2414 Ion Avenue on Sullivan's Island. Yeah, we're coming into this way late, so all this other stuff that we've done, we have absolutely nothing to do with. Me and my other partner have absolutely nothing to do with. We're a single-family home builder here locally. And the reason for R3 is really, if we go to R1, where you'd be approving something that it doesn't fit those requirements. The lot's too small. So the R1 lot depth is 110 feet, which neither of those lots have 110 feet.
Okay.
R2 we looked at, and it really just, especially the 1242. 1242, it's 75 feet deep. If we were to use white flats, which I believe we have to, as where the front door is, because that's the address. So, I mean, if you use R2, you're at 25-25, you got 25-foot house. That just really doesn't make it as far as the front setback and the rear setback. So it just does give us a little bit more flexibility with the setbacks.
Okay.
So that's why we're going for in R3.
Okay.
The intention is to do single family homes. So
got it. Okay. Yeah.
Do you foresee taking down the current structure that's there, or do you have a strategy for that yet that you're able to share? Or? Okay.
Remove it.
Okay.
Questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, discussion on this? I mean, it seems straightforward to me. I think we... Sorry, Michelle? Yeah. I'm sorry, Michelle. This is a public hearing. Thank you to Michelle for reminding me. If there's anyone here to speak on this agenda item, now would be the time to do it. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Who am I? So I'm Laura Standridge. I live in Mount Pleasant. And I just have...
Can you street address, ma'am, for the
Sure,
record?
sure. 1532 Walkendaw Road.
Okay.
The sites, so I just want to start. I'm just curious. I'm here to sort of learn as much as I can about this as a newly minted Charleston County or South Carolina nonprofit. So we're around and I'm looking at properties and I'm curious about zoning because I'm at the beginning. I'm at the nexus of my education. So thank you for that tonight. And my husband and I have driven by many times and we're looking at this property and we're like, why would we saw the public notice and we found out that they're going to be rezoning and we're like, why would you want a residential thing there? And we understand what White Flat Road is and knowing that it has what its history is, but it is a very interesting place. As it's been mentioned, there's condos right behind. Right in front is a main thoroughfare, and then next to that is a little empty lot with another road that goes to shopping. So it seems very strange that you would put a private home there. I don't know who the heck would want to live in a private home, essentially on Bowman Road. So that's my observation. And then the site's evolution highlights how zoning decisions affect families, children, and community services. And I'm very interested in community services. As a newly incorporated South Carolina nonprofit focused on kids with challenges, and I'm here to just understand how you, as the town, weigh those impacts. And that's just the conclusion of my comment.
Is that it?
So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else on this particular topic? Seeing none, we will close the public comment period for this particular item. Okay. Any other questions, discussions on this matter?
Yes. Peter, is the lot that's 1236, that's an R1 zoned property?
That's correct.
And is that a non-conforming property? Do you know?
It would be considered non-conforming with the depth.
Yeah, you raised
it would be considered non-conforming.
Okay. And the reason I mention it is I believe R3 also would allow duplexes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, I mean, I know that none of the residents are here to speak from White Flat Road, but I just fundamentally, I feel like this is a single-family home road. And I agree, I wouldn't particularly want a house that abuts Bowman Road there, but I think R3 is a stretch. R2 maybe would make more sense, but he's not applying for R2, he's applying for R3.
Right.
So I feel that's just a little too much, and I think, it's a red herring to say, well, there are condos or townhomes right in back. That's really is a different neighborhood. It's buffered, it's not, the access way is all White Flat Road here, not Bowman Woods.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at them differently, having gone by there and gone up the road. So I just think it's the wrong request for the reason, the zone. Mm-hmm. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know what the buffering would be like off Bowman, but correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw a slide earlier that shows it was in these two lots were in that overall yellow highlighted comp plan, or a couple of pages back.
Future land use.
Future land use. Excuse me. Thank
that
you.
one. Yeah.
So, to me, trying to clean up the undo what was done feels like the better path, and you've got appears to be an applicant willing to do it. So, I think there's going to be some requirements they're going to have to go through to continue on through this design. They might yield, 6 to 8 units out of it. So that feels like a better use than what is currently contemplated. And I wouldn't want to see a commercial jammed up against those residential homes. Mm-hmm. So that's my soft take on it.
Mm-hmm.
No motion.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, yeah, and I would just piggyback on what Mr. Ferrara said. This area is obviously a little bit of a transition.
Mm-hmm.
Watermark Boulevard goes to a number of different uses, commercial uses, and a lot of different multifamily. And then you've got commercial zoning across the road, and then you've got 8B2 zoning just on the other side of Watermark with Hughes Rental. So, I feel like, and the fact that you've got multifamily adjacent to you on Bowman Woods, I think this is an area, if somebody's looking to live on Bowman Road, I think it is a more appropriate type use, is just my opinion, in this area. So, on the other side of the road, you've got larger lots, maybe more conducive to larger single-family homes, but I think kind of what we got here, the way these were subdivided, it doesn't feel like a stretch. They can only do so much with those small lots. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
So, going from low density to medium density, to me, is not the right way to go. I think that I'd be happy with R1 or R2, but as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't be too happy with R3 because I just don't like to go from low density to medium density. And so that's my feeling on it.
I concur with that. I have no problem with it being residential. I think it should be residential, but I think R2 is a more appropriate zoning.
Okay.
The question I have is, the additional lots on White Flat Road, when they go to want to redevelop, or they're not going to be able to do much under R1 is what it sounds like. So, the Domino is going to be
There are houses there, right?
Correct. So there are currently, and if I could zoom this out further, there are single-family homes that go all the way back to a cul-de-sac, and they would be protected by the non-conforming ordinance, allowed to repair, and it really, I mean, to a certain extent, even rebuild. So, not as concerned about the existing properties and the nonconformities that are kind of assigned to them.
So if someone had an R1 on White Flat Road that was at the end of its functional lifespan and they tore it down, they would be able to put back like the same exact thing that they had, or they would not because of the limitations of the setbacks.
There are certain provisions built into the nonconforming ordinance where if you have a nonconforming lot, there are reductions in setbacks and other provisions that would allow you to build something back. It's a buildable lot. It's a lot that either the county or the town created at some point in history. So
And could I just add to that? Maybe I think if it were totally due to improvements and not an act of God, or a loss or something, I think you'd have to conform to certain things that are applicable to the lot, like the setbacks and things like that. But my understanding is that other than for use, you could go and ask the Board of Zoning Appeals for a variance to meet, to have exceptions to those things. That's right?
That's correct. You reach a certain extent where we can, with a non-conforming lot, we can reduce your setbacks up to 20%. But if you're proposing plans that we're now realizing you're going to need more than that, it's going to be the Board of Zoning Appeals to give you relief.
Mm-hmm. So as R1 though, this would be a non-conforming lot.
1242?
Yeah.
Correct.
And the one across the street.
Yes, I mean, that has a little bit more of a different history you don't have to get into, but it was in the Watermark PD, and they acquired that property just for the freestanding sign that's on it. So there are a couple of nonconformities on that site.
So, Mr. Stone, I'm looking for guidance from staff on what are our available options. We've heard comments that, we're not. There's some that are concerned about the request to rezone to R3, but may be willing to rezone to another designation. Is that we have to deny and come back?
Yeah.
Okay. They have to come back another time. Okay.
Mr. Chair, one more thing, just for the record, it's commercial zone today. Now, when that happened, it sounds like there's some history, so it's zoned office professional today. Undoubtedly, nobody's been able to make that feasible or work as that. So, whatever we look at, I think is a down zoning to some extent. Now, would it be great if it was R1? Maybe, but anyway, just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, my thinking is consistent with yours. I think I'd rather it just make the decision to drive it to what's been requested, as opposed to the possibility of another designation that is near. But I can make arguments both ways.
I mean, this is Bowman Road. It's a pretty major road. I feel like for density, it's not the craziest place to put higher density.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anybody care to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request.
Okay.
I just don't think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna get any more out of trying to manipulate the zoning in any other ways. Not saying anybody on this board is trying to do that. Just I don't think I understand it any more than I'm going to at this point. And
okay.
I don't know where we could go from there.
Okay. I'll second that motion. Okay, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve to R3, rezone to R3, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3. 3 opposed.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we do by roll call, Lynette, for the record then?
Mr. Barber?
Approve.
Mr. Ferrara?
Approved.
Miss Ireland,
No.
Mr. Davis,
No.
Mr. Smythe,
Approve.
Miss Mansire, Mr. Barry,
Aye.
and Mr. Bennett.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-3.
Okay. All right. Next is another public hearing, item 7F, project proposed for 1520 Rifle Range Road.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 1520 Rifle Range Road. This is currently home to McAllister Smith Funeral Home and a recreational field in the rear. It's 4.88 acres, and it is adjacent to, it's in between Shell Point and Central Mount Pleasant PD. Currently, the property is zoned R1, and the funeral home use is permitted under the BOZA special exception. What they're proposing with R2, funeral home use is also permitted under the BOZA special exception. And I think that's going to be a recurring theme as we work through this, that R1 and R2 are almost identical. And in all the major categories, they're very similar. The only area where they diverge is on lot area, lot width, depth. So you can see here the lot area for R1, 10,000, you go down to 8,000 for R2. So this really, this request is not so driven by expanding the uses or anything like that. It's more of a dimension is driving this request. So that is the current request, but it does need to be pointed out that the future land use and the comprehensive plan have designated this as neighborhood scale commercial, and its neighborhood scale is often just isolated commercial in large pockets of residential, and it's really up for the commission to determine if that's something that the comp plan designated it because it was an existing business, or if that is the direction that the town is trying to maintain. So that is the request before you. The applicant is here and would like to speak.
Okay. Any questions for staff before we invite the applicant? Is the applicant here? Yeah, yes, sir. If you would state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. I'm Stuart Whiteside, Seaman Whiteside and Associates, address 618 Hopgold Bluff Drive in Mount Pleasant. I'm here representing Mark and Parker Smith, who are the owners of the facility. They do own a 4.8 acre tract, and they are looking to relocate in Mount Pleasant to a different facility, a more modern facility. They've kind of outgrown or outpaced themselves at the current location. The property that they're in now is completely surrounded by single-family uses. The R2 that they're requesting is basically the same as next door, which is the Shell Point, and it's actually less dense than next door on the other side, which is Central Mount Pleasant. Most of the properties on the north side of Rifle Range Road are R2, R3, or PD. The proposed subdivision they'd like to do is a 14-lot subdivision for family members for several of the lots, and then to sell a few of the other lots that are left over. It will be less than 3 units per acre. It'll be similar to Gemstone Drive, which is a block or two down the road, if you're familiar with that. Due to the width of the property, we are looking for R2 because the R1 has some lot depth requirements of 110 feet. Especially as you get down to the end of the road that we'll have for the subdivision, you have lot depth problems, and it's difficult to get a lot on both sides of the road when you get to the end of the cul-de-sac. And it does give us some flexibility as well, because there are a few trees on there that we'd like to work around. R2 would give us some more flexibility in the lot sizes and shapes to work on that. And I'd be glad to answer any questions. As far as the use, I believe if people went back, they'd probably find that the comprehensive plan put that as neighborhood commercial or limited commercial just because that's what it was. It really is not a great location for a commercial facility in that location. But glad to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, sir. Questions for the representative of the applicant?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, Mr.
So I'm a little confused. So the funeral home's on right off Highway 17, right?
No, this is Rifle Range. Rifle Range.
So I guess I'm thinking of the wrong one. Then. I know
It's Stowers is on Mathis Ferry. McAllister Smith is on Rifle Range, and there's another one further up on out towards the 10 Mile area.
Gary, this is the one near Whitesides Elementary.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
correct.
I got it.
Yeah. Okay. Questions for the applicant or representative of the applicant? I think it's straightforward. Thank you, sir. You're very kind. Okay. Discussion? Further questions? Sorry, Michelle, you said? Oh, yeah. Here I go again. I'm sorry, guys. My head's all over the place. I got so much going on with my work, and I just became a grandfather for the second time about 4 hours ago, so my head's all over the place. So, thank you. It is a public hearing, as Michelle said. Does anyone here speak on this topic? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment period. All right. Comments, questions, a motion?
Well, I'll make a comment. I can't speak specifically for this, but generally speaking, when we were working on the comprehensive plan, I know that we specifically were looking for places to insert neighborhood commercial where there wasn't any small commercial, because we really wanted to have some kind of connectivity to some very small commercial. And I'm thinking of the sort of thing like the neighborhood commercial is the size of the Village and Ion, or the little Pitt Street, block or two, that sort of thing. And so, and there aren't very many properties that are amenable to that. So I know that staff and consultants and we on the committee were trying to find places that would fit that. So I understand, the desire to put residential here, but I just feel I need to stay consistent with the comp plan, because I know what the conversation was. So for that reason.
Okay. Yeah, I understand the logic. The counter argument is right now those kinds of retail type establishments are really struggling.
They're tough. I know.
And it's just the culture that we're living in at this moment. And so as quaint and as conceptually, as much as I want to support that, it's just that's hard.
I get it. Right, the only thing I would say is, if I were going to be converting from that concept, I would feel more amenable to an R1 where you don't have as many lots as 14. This just seems like a highly dense proposal.
And that's a good point. I can agree with what the chair just said, but as I was kind of just running some quick math in my head, and by the time you dump in the street and you dump in, some level of stormwater protection and tree protection and things of that nature, I don't think you're ever going to get to the potential density that you would get to. And hearing the applicant talk about 14 lots, likely it's been conceptualized in some capacity that they're not ready to share yet, but I feel like that's actually even less dense than the R1 would pencil out at. Personally, I'm a little sad to see the soccer field go, because I played soccer there with my son, and he played on the team there, so appreciate the use of that. But we've got the new soccer fields going in down the street, so for that reason, I think likely it's probably going to be a well laid out plan that's going to be less dense than R1 would show. So I do understand the depth requirement they need, and that's really the path forward. So for that reason, I'm in support of it.
Okay. Anyone else?
I just
Discussion or comment?
Question, like on this diagram, does that gray box with the funny hatch indicate something, or?
Yeah, so there's a 35-foot easement on the property. So you look at a aerial or a plat, and you might think that this is a 300-foot wide property, but that 35-foot easement further condenses this long, skinny dimension that we have. So let's try to see if
Is that easement for a road?
No, it's a drainage easement, sorry, yeah. But I guess the difference between R1, R2, and the compression of the site and the encumbrances that are existing on it, it was meant to show that really this is something else to be contended with. They'll have to install detention roads, all that, so.
Okay, a motion? Or Mr. Berry, you have a question or comment?
Just a comment. I've been just doing some quick math based off this chart. Yeah, it looks like, once you take out a 50-foot right-of-way and you try to load both sides, it's 105 feet at best. And just Mr. Whiteside said, so I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve rezoning request for R2.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Second, Mr. Farr. We'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, motion carries. The next is 7G, public hearing again for 0 George Browder Boulevard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request to amend the Dunes West PD by incorporating a 7-acre parcel into the Park West development. So this is the 7-acre site. You can see that on one side you have Laurel Hill County Park, Laurel Hill Primary, and Life Park Church, and then the commercial shopping center there at Park West. Property is zoned PI1, which is public institution, number 1 district, and previously this entire campus was under a planned development, and it contained the church's master plan intent, but just vision changes over time, and they've scaled back, and they are now looking to sell this property, and the future land use is consistent with that current zoning, so community facilities. So the PD zoning map for Dunes West is showing here that this is the parcel on the very bottom to be included as the 7 acres, and they're proposing to designate as multifamily. And again, this parcel is abutted by 2 institutions, one being a church, one being a county park and public school, and within walking distance of the commercial shopping center. This is the conceptual plan. George Browder Boulevard will be the access point for ingress egress, and there's a 10-foot perimeter buffer here and along George Browder. And as far as the development summary, they're proposing 43 multifamily units to be built as townhome style. Overall, with the 7-acre site, we're looking at 6.1 units per acre. They are creating 1.34 acres of open space amenity areas, and there's 2.77 acres of wetlands that will be preserved. They will be filling in 0.10 acres as a part of this development plan, and the max height is 40 feet. So one thing to bring up with this planned development, back in 1990, Dunes West was established in 96. They partnered with Park West, and at that point they assigned and allocated units for each separate development to pull out of. So the basket that Park West development is pulling out of, they have 50 multifamily units left. So with this proposed 43 multifamily units, that would leave 7 remaining if this were to be approved. So just something to make you aware of, and that is the request before you. Glad to answer any questions, and the applicant is here as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, questions immediately for staff?
Yeah, I have one. So, do you have an aerial showing what the trees look like on that property? It's not real clear. I'm not really sure what I'm looking at here.
Well, he's got the drawing too that shows trees.
Are there any mature trees on the property?
There are, and it is a heavily wooded site.
And what's the expectation for all that? I mean, we have the tree committee, and I'm like a tree hugger here, so I'm always concerned about the trees.
Sure. Yeah, it will have to go through design review, and because this is not a townhome development. This is a multifamily development, which means it is commercial in nature, and would have to go through design review board. So it will be reviewed by our staff, and the tree survey, tree protection plan will all have to be reviewed by them.
So there's potential for clear cutting a lot of this. Is that right?
Not clear cutting. I mean, they'd have to.
They're
still subject to the tree ordinance.
Clear cutting. Yeah. Okay, I understand.
The applicant here. That'll be the time. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Jenny Palmer. I also work for Seaman Whiteside and Associates. My address is 8633 Refuge Point Circle in North Charleston. I will address your question first regarding the trees. We have an older tree survey that was done that will be updated based on the requirements of getting through staff and the town process. Most of those trees that you see where the actual development is going to occur, most of those trees are pines and gums. Most of your larger oak trees are back in the wetland area that will be preserved. And we will work with staff on the new tree survey, any of those trees that we need to preserve based on the tree assessment and staff recommendations. We will work with those trees as well that we can work around. But most of the large trees that you see on the property are back in the wetland that will be preserved. As far as this infill area, we really believe that the use of this will further enhance the mixed use dynamic of the immediate adjacent areas with the church and the schools and all the commercial that is nearby. All of this will help with the connectivity. There will be sidewalks connecting to all of these areas. We are only developing less than half of the whole entire site, since we are trying to preserve all of that wetland area in the back. And this property is also owned by the church, so this will the sale of this land will benefit the church as well. The townhome units are for rent. It's not a fee simple type of development. So we do believe that this use being in the PUD will benefit this area. Happy to answer any questions.
Yep.
When you're ready.
No, go right in.
Okay. I mean, I think it makes sense to have this as part of the Park West PD. My concern is that the town is struggling all the time to find workforce housing, to find affordable housing. I would be much more inclined to approve this kind of thing if it were to come here to say, you know, of the 43 units, 8 are going to be affordable housing designated. Because if we're really looking to help Church Life Park, Publix, the schools, the local fire station, you know, Carolina Park area, that would, I mean, it's not many, but it's more than nothing. And so I would like to see if there would be some, you know, somebody amenable to doing that. And to come, and that would be a substantial change. So you wouldn't, if it were denied tonight, you could come right back with that. You would not have to wait a year. So I really feel like we would be pilloried if we allow this without any workforce housing. That's my huge concern.
Thank you.
Okay. Question, maybe a little bit related to what Ms. Ireland raised, and that is, and Mr. Stone already mentioned 43 versus the 50 available. Is there a reason you're not asking for the larger amount, or?
Well, 43 is actually all that with this particular product. That's all that this site can yield while trying to preserve the wetlands and making the actual layout work.
Okay.
We did a few concepts, and 43 was about the max we can fit in there.
Okay.
There's an element of speed, I think, too, filling in the 0.1 wetlands versus a larger amount too. That's
Okay.
probably, so it's probably a speed to market kind of thing too.
Yeah, it's a good insight. Okay. Questions for the applicant?
Part of the applicant as well. I just wanted to correct one little item. We are looking at it for build for rent, but also looking at it as potential horizontal property regime, so it could still be for sale in that way. But
Excuse me, who are you?
Sorry, Turner Rose, 2278 Tillage Street.
I'm sorry, say that again. Your name?
Turner Rose.
Turner, thank you.
So there could be a conversion to
It could be like a condo type.
regime instead. Okay.
And my concern would apply either way,
Yeah,
whether they're for
100%.
sale or for rent.
Yeah. Okay. Questions for the applicant?
I have a question for staff.
Okay. Anything for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Corey, you had a question for staff?
So I guess the planned development doesn't indicate like whether the town wants it to be a rental versus a ownership regime.
So that you get to that granular level, that is not something that is in the category of zoning. It really does come down to the preferences of the property owner if they want to market this as horizontal property regime or rent. It is reviewed the same way for us.
Either options available. Okay. This is a public hearing. So is there someone to speak on this particular topic? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is David C. My business address 3404 Salterbeck Street, actually right across the street there, and we represent First Baptist Church on this property. You make a wonderful point. I've come up with a word that's not attainable or anything like that, but this will be a $500,000 price point most likely, so I think it's an achievable price point in Mount Pleasant now for what we're seeing inventory-wise, even though I hear what you're saying, but it doesn't necessarily qualify for what the definition of maybe attainable might be. But I don't think, from what I understand, and again, I don't represent the applicant, I don't think that's going to be achievable for them for their financial modeling from what we've heard in the meetings. But me being in this area for over 21 years, what I like about this opportunity and what really brought First Baptist to want to go under contract with this buyer, because they were very hesitant of many things, anything that says multifamily, it was a nice fit for one, rounding out the Park West PD, which I think the number is kind of interesting that it aligns so well. And because First Baptist planted Life Park, and Life Park decided that they had figured out their geography needs on their own property, that they did not need to go forward with this, that they declined the option, and hopefully in the correspondences that you've seen that both First Baptist and Life Park would really like this to proceed, just because it's hard for them to raise money as a church and they have some capital campaign needs. And they did vet the buyer, we think, very, very well. And we applaud the design team for really having a lot of open space. So we see this as a nice urban infill best practice type of opportunity that can round out what Park West vision was. And so I'm just here to tell you First Baptist and Life Park wanted to thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments on this topic? Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. How are you doing today? I'm here as a representative of First Baptist Church. We're a representative of the sellers. We're representing the address is 681 McCants Drive. We purchased this property in 1979, a long time ago, in order to build Life Park. And at one time, we were intending on building a school there. Since then, Life Park has grown and it's done very well. and the school is no longer planned to be part of that property. Life Park owns the other 27 acres. We still own this 7-acre parcel, and now it's under contract for sale for the application that you see before you tonight. And I'm here for 2 reasons. One, to say I support that the application for 2 reasons. One, Center Park Group, we've worked together and vetted their idea and come together with it as a church to allow the sale. Number 2, I as the property owner, where we have listed this property in the past, we've not been successful because of the limitations of PI1. So we're a little bit concerned as an owner of the property, what kind of uses are viable for the community, and that's really where our heart is. That's why we planted this church here, was to support the community. So we're concerned a little bit about what a PI1 would allow us to do in the future, and really it's about the community and how this property can best benefit the community. So we're here in support of the incorporation into the plan, Park West plan development, because it simply opens the window to more uses. Thank you.
Sir, you introduced yourself and whom you're representing, but if you would state your name and also the address for the record.
Sure. Jeff Johnston, 681 McCants.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment period. Okay.
Can we ask a question of staff or no?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You have
I'm
some.
sorry. Yeah, I thought somebody was
Okay. Yep. Go right ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hi, it's Michelle Stress, 545 Miranda View, Mount Pleasant. I don't know if I buy that this was intended. They're concerned that this isn't going to go to a good use for the community. That this is the best use for the community. For this is to put 40 some odd families in here. This area is we're already troubled by the traffic in this area, looking at ways to get traffic down 41, and this is just going to add 40 more families needing to go up and down this area. And I agree with Mr. Davis that this is a very heavily wooded area, and there, I come to a lot of these meetings, across the gamut, and there's a lot of promises that are made, like, yes, it's our intention to do this, and we really have good hopes that we're going to be able to do that. And then the ball goes down the road, and all of a sudden there's bulldozers and and a bunch of garbage happens. And so I just don't believe what I'm hearing, and I'm strongly asking to oppose this and not to put it into the PD, because I don't think it's a responsible thing to do. This is too wooded, too already highly saturated with individuals, and we're already struggling for the traffic. So, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else to speak on this topic? I'll close the public comment period again. Okay. Thoughts?
Quick question, Mr. Stone, and I apologize if I missed it. Wouldn't be the first time, but does somebody from Dunes West or whoever's in charge of that PD have to be here, or is that implied somewhere in the packet that I missed it?
So
don't they have to request that, or no?
If anyone can amend the PD, that is not.
If I own Dunes West, somebody can just jump into Dunes West with me without me knowing.
Now, here's the caveat. If you want to join in with the covenants and restrictions of Dunes West or Park West, that's a very different story. But if we're talking about zoning, anyone can amend the PD as long as they own the property and...
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Case, yeah.
I mean, I would just restate that, I'm not crazy about 43, but I wouldn't want to entertain something that doesn't have an affordable housing component to it. I feel like we have to really be careful where we're putting additional density, and to the extent that we can justify it at all, it has to be, sort of for a primary reason to allow for some workforce housing. And I don't, maybe the financial formula for this one isn't working for that, but I would suggest that there might be somebody that does have something that would work for it, but, so I'm not in favor of just adding 43 $500,000 townhomes.
What if this folds into the PD? What else could they do with it?
That's a good question. So this is not a general all-purpose commercial site. This is multifamily. So there are, in Park West, there are other forms of multifamily. There's like a multifamily townhome. But let's get another look at what's left here. So, yeah, I mean, you're kind of limited. Yeah, there's residential townhome, R3. Some R3 has kind of used that multifamily aspect, but yeah.
So I'm inclined to, with the same logic that Miss Ireland has, only because I'm seeing it, I'm understanding it, I'm sensing it as well, boots on the ground, and I feel like if they could get 50. And they're at 43, there's still a pathway to get to 50 with some additional, very well planned, and I believe the civil would do that, wetlands fill. In order to get those additional units that could be affordable in some capacity. I just feel like there should be some pathway for that. I know we can't control the market, but I just want to understand what our latitude is as a board in that arena, because I think we need to somehow get a little bit more diversity in our community. Sorry to say it that way, but
yeah, I like that notion conceptually. I guess where on this particular parcel where I'm a little troubled, or maybe I'm just uncertain, is adding additional cost to build those units given the wetlands.
Right.
On this parcel.
Yeah, good point.
And so I don't know what to do about that. It's all conceptual, and I haven't, it's not my field, and I haven't estimated what those costs might be. And
I have this more or less indifference.
Okay.
To it.
Okay.
Does this parcel have to be in the plan development? Like, is it already in the plan development, just as a different use?
No, no, it is not.
So aren't there other properties within the plan development that could support these unallocated units? Or it just seems weird that someone's trying to tag on and then steal their allocation. I don't know all the rules with it.
That remains to be seen. Again, that is outside of zoning, and traditionally this has all been handled through covenant agreements and restrictions that they privately have those agreements. That will be coordination between this applicant and Park West.
Mr. Chair, I guess just to kind of chime in, I totally hear Ms. Ireland's point about workforce housing, and I was sitting here trying to, assume or look at, is there a way or is there land? I mean, you obviously have the open space that they preserved. It looks like there's a couple large trees in that area, and so I don't think that's, necessarily feasible, and I understand why they stayed away from it. The one thing I will say, this area, knowing this area well, the impact assessment for the schools was done based off of the allowed unit allocation. So it's kind of already baked in. You've got amenities there. You've got commercial. The town just spent a lot of money to put All American Boulevard through that area. So you do have a lot of connectivity. So there's a lot of positives, I think. Is it an infill into an area? Yes, I think it is. But would it be congruent and something that's maybe walkable for some of the commercial uses that surround it? I think there's a couple commercial uses right now that are being proposed and under design review along 17. So I don't think where it is. It's not a single family lot. Obviously, PI has not been something that's developable for anybody. So I don't know at our level. Would I love to see some workforce option there? I would. I just don't know where we're at right now. I don't know how we can ask or force because there's an economics component to that.
Sure.
As a developer, I totally understand that.
Yeah, I think my head's where yours is, sir. So I agree. Yeah.
Is there any remaining balance for the Park West commercial area?
There are. I'm trying to think. There are a couple of still vacant sites that I can think off the top of my head. There are. Those were built into the original PD. There's not many, but
Yeah, I was wondering if this could be, if a proposal could be that this could go into the Park West for commercial purposes and not residential, because it is surrounded by commercial, and that would be, I think, a better use than adding a bunch of expensive townhomes personally. And honestly, if it's a matter of either accepting this use without workforce housing or not, I'd rather keep the property undeveloped. I just don't think, I think we have to be really careful about what we're allowing for further residential housing, especially in the multifamily category.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Ms. Ireland. I really do.
Okay, we got an array of views on this, so I guess what we should do is call for a motion, and we'll.
No.
No, that period's been closed.
I move to deny.
Motion been made to deny the request. Is there
I'll
a
second it.
Second made by Ms. Ireland. All those in favor of denial of the request, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Opposed. So there's one. Yeah, we'll do 4 opposed. So, yeah, roll call, please. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Barry?
Nay.
Ms. Mansard?
Aye.
Mr. Smythe?
Opposed.
Mr. Davis?
Opposed?
No. To deny, you're accepting denial.
Okay, the
That's a yes.
motion is for denial.
Right.
Okay, let me start over. Hold on. Mr. Barry?
Nay.
Ms. Mansard?
Aye.
All right. Mr. Smythe?
No.
Mr. Davis?
I approve for denial.
Thank you. Miss Ireland?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Nay.
Nay is in your
What Barry said.
denial, or you're
Yeah.
in favor of denial or opposed of denial?
Nay.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Barber?
In favor of denial.
Thank you. And Mr. Bennett?
Nay.
All right. Motion tied to 4-4, so the motion fails.
Okay.
So, does someone want to make a motion that's different?
Yep. Yeah, why don't you give it a go, Ms. Ireland?
No, I mean, I'm in denial, so I don't want to move.
Well, I thought you might have a compromised position. That's why I asked. Okay.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve as requested.
Second.
To say that again to
Wait, I don't understand. I don't understand what just happened here.
We
It's
had
the opposite.
Yeah.
It's the same, just opposite.
Exactly.
He just made a motion
That
to
way
approve
His
the
motion
application.
is for approval of the request
Approval for the request to
Amend the PD.
to
amend
amend
the P
the Dunes West PD incorporating the 7.05 acres.
for
Correct.
multifamily. Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Mr. Ferrara seconded the
Oh, you
motion.
did. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Thank you. Okay, motion.
Well, I was going to second it with one caveat.
Then you have
No?
to amend.
I have to amend.
You have to amend.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve with, and I don't know if I can do this, but with the limitation of 43 units.
So we vote on the request to amend.
Oh, can we do that? Can we do that?
Guys.
What's the motion?
You would like to add a limitation, since, excuse me, this is a PD, so you can attach conditions.
Yeah.
And what your condition is a maximum of 42 units, is that what I understand?
What they presented in their plan.
Okay, Or you can just say the sketch as presented,
Right.
or however you want to
Sketch as
do it is
presented.
fine. Okay. And then, sir, you'll need to vote on the amendment first.
Yep, okay, thank you. Thanks for that clarification.
We have a
Okay.
motion. Do we have a second? I didn't know if I missed it.
You got to second it first, and then we can make a motion for an amendment.
This is an amendment.
No,
So
we have-
Ferrara is amending the motion.
He needs a second. He
And
needs
and I will make the second on the amendment.
Thank you.
So now we vote.
Okay, so what we're voting on is the amendment before we get to the first motion, okay? So all those in favor of the amendment proposed by Mr. Farrar, say aye.
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 Okay, I think that's 5 at least.
I'm sorry.
I added
That was in favor. I've got Mr. Berry,
Mhm.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes. Mr. Smythe,
Mr. Smythe.
Ferrera.
Mr. Farrar.
I added an I, so that's adding it.
I'm sorry.
I added yes to that,
Yes.
just to the amendment.
Okay. So that's going to be Mr. Barber opposed and Mr. Davis opposed
I oppose.
and
Ms. Montour.
Ms. Mansara.
Opposed?
Okay,
And I think that's everybody, correct?
It is.
Is anyone? All right, thank you. Motion passed. I'm sorry, the amendment passed 5-3.
okay, great. So now we'll take a vote on the
The motion.
motion to approval of the approval of the request, including the stipulation for 43, I think, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Dave's at 42. Okay, so 43 units. Okay,
And if Mr. Bennett, we can do a roll call, I would love that.
we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that from the outset instead of
Thank you.
attempting it. Okay.
Mr.
So,
Barber.
yep. Mr. Barber.
So the motion for approval with the 43 units as presented.
Nay.
Nay. Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Miss Ireland?
No.
Mr. Davis?
No.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
Miss Mansire?
No.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
And Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Motion fails due to a tie vote 4-4.
Okay.
This means it goes to committee with no recommendation.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Move on.
Take it off.
All right. Next on the agenda is 7H. This is not a public hearing, but it's a street name request for specific to Gary Santos.
I move to
Recreation
approve.
Park.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Berry. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'd like to take a recess. Maybe it's been at this for almost 2 hours. I'd like to take a recess for about 5 minutes and come back. All right.
Aye.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So we're not really doing anything. So are you going to stay in your house where you live now forever, or what are you doing? Is that the plan? Are you a widow or widow? Or you?
No, my wife.
I didn't see a ring.
No. I'm married for 36 years.
Okay.
I've got 2 dogs. We have 2 border collies.
Okay.
So, have you ever been out to Bulls Bay?
Oh yeah. I played golf there.
Okay, so we're right by the 12 Peaks. It's a
Nice.
big stone house.
Yeah.
And so every day when the weather is decent, we have a golf cart. And, it's a farm at the end of the road. And anyway, it's bought by somebody else. We run the dogs down the street. We go to the farm. We play frisbee for 35 or 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the dogs run back to the house.
Land stable.
We have 3.7 acres. I told you that before. I bought 2 lots, so we have 3.7 acres.
Right.
So
So really,
I love it out there.
with the exception of having to go somewhere you're quite insulated.
Oh yeah. But everything, when we built out there, I've been out there for 16 years. People said, "You're crazy. You'll never see anybody. You're so far out."
Yeah.
But now, it keeps a small airplane that face on the road. It's like
You fly?
Yeah.
Still? Today?
Yes. So it's like 20 minutes. We bought a unit over on Salterbeck Street. Almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
Okay. It takes me like 15 minutes to get to work. So, and everything's right there for us. It's just, the hospital's right there. And I have no place to sell it. I really like it out there. It's just, I think it's like 15 or 20, maybe 20 homes in the entire place.
Right.
Joe Rice, he's not selling any more lots.
Do you want?
So you play the course out there?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I like the course.
It's a good course. Yeah. Just not on windy days. When it's ultra windy.
When it's ultra windy, it's a tough course.
Yeah.
My sons were playing not too long ago. And, the greens, if you can figure out the greens.
Yeah. My greens in Rivertown are ultra fast, so I'm used to. Yeah.
Yeah. Those greens sometimes are rolling like
Yeah.
maybe 10 or 11 sometimes. I mean, they're real.
Yeah, I'll show you. I built my house. I'll show you my house.
So you live near the Rivertown?
Yes.
That's where my son is, Rivertown.
Oh my goodness.
I just like to practice it. It's just, I don't know. When I lived in Pittsburgh, my house had 3 acres also. I've always had a lot of land.
Yeah. See if I can't get a
Little boy.
I mean, these are the
Born
views
late
I
last
get
night. My daughter's child. Yep.
back when
Yep, exactly. Yep. I have good memory. So, yes, she delivered late last night. And
those are the views. But
a
we
little
get
bit
to
early.
the picture of the house eventually. So there's my house. I built it.
It was because she had low.
It's an elevated house. And, kind of a Florida style, low country, and
whatever reason she had low
dark windows just to kind of spice it up. And I love seeing all the wildlife.
Luckily,
It's beautiful.
the baby is not quite full term. Missed full term by about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. But we're 7.5.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of wildlife.
Yeah, there's my dog. She's a silver lab. Sky. Sky.
Just the name Michael.
I have a son, but he's not married. But knows no children.
Sky?
Sky.
He lives with us.
That's her dog. Watch her.
She's just,
Laying on the bed.
so everything's been about.
She's well, the video's not
She's
she's
three.
like doing the
3 and about 2
Watch
months.
her.
3 and a newborn. Yep. That's right. So my granddaughter's staying with us, which is great. She's with us a lot. We love that. And so her paternal grandparents are right in the corner too, Jerry and Karen. And she stays with them a lot too. So she doesn't know it, but she's very fortunate.
It's just a third of an acre. but because I've got all these expansive views.
Yeah, I was that way. I mean,
that was a good price.
Right. Yeah.
I
know I've benefited from being nearby both areas.
So these are our long range views.
We weren't
out of our upper area of the back of our house. Isn't that great? Yeah, it's like I call this giraffes out there.
Right.
So that's at the golf course. I mean, so it's a much bigger feel than that. That's our koozie.
Right.
My wife's daughter's over there.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll call the meeting back to order.
Oh, back in line.
I was trying to find a picture of my dog.
Okay, I think the next several agenda items are sketch plans.
Right.
And so not public hearings, just as for some context or background. The next is item 7A, the sketch plan for 967 Pine Hollow Road. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Oh, there we go. All right, so before you tonight is a sketch plan proposal for 967 Pine Hollow Road, proposing to subdivide a 0.7 acre lot on Pine Hollow Road into 2 single-family residential lots. The property is further identified by the following TMS number, and this is zoned R1. So this is located off of Pine Hollow Road. If I zoomed out, the frontage road would be Johnny Dodds. This is currently zoned R1, with future land use being conventional residential neighborhood. So this is the sketch plan in front of you tonight. In green is the current parcel. Red is the subdivision request. There is access off of the 50-foot private right-of-way, and there is currently one historic tree on the site that is not being proposed for removal. R1 zoning requires minimum lot dimensional requirements of 60-foot width by 90-foot depth and a minimum square foot lot dimension of 12,000 square feet. The lot sizes are approximately 0.4 and 0.3 acres. Like I said, no significant or protected trees are proposed for removal. The updated TPZs are currently shown on the plat, and they are applying with an LDR waiver to subdivide off a private ingress-egress. So staff comments from DRT review that occurred on 1/13. Planning staff confirms setbacks are shown correctly. Tree standards for subdivisions are 160 inches DBH per acre, and the applicant is going to need to plant 19 inches prior to final plat authorization on the new lot. The subdivider/developer shall be responsible for providing positive drainage for each lot individually as part of the project development. Water and wastewater extensions are the responsibility of the owner to extend services with payment to MPW. The applicant is accessing the proposed lot C3 by private road, which the owner provided a letter from his attorney ensuring the rights of the owner of the private road are not violated with this new access. And driveway shown on the plat does not appear to be a new easement for access. So this is the LDR waiver that was completed. The first one, A1, which covers topographical constraints. The applicant responded the location of the historic tree, the existing 50-foot easement and 50-foot private right-of-way, as well as the location of the house on lot C3, make it impossible to configure a subdivision of lot C3 on a public right-of-way. The 50-foot private right-of-way was originally created in 1992 to provide access to the lots surrounding it. The 50-foot easement was created in 1954 when the parent parcels were created from which C3 was later subdivided. The use of these accesses for the lots shown is consistent with the development plans from those time periods. and staff did not have any comments. A2, which asks if compliance with LDR standards is unreasonable in conflict with the public interest, or it is practically impossible. The answer was the location of the nearest public right-of-way north of the property makes it impossible to achieve frontage for either Lot C3 or C3A onto the public portion of Pine Hollow Road. The access easement and private right-of-way were created many years ago to provide access to these lots, and other lots created or located between the end of the public right-of-way portion of Pine Hollow Road and Shem Creek. Staff did not have any comments. A3, the modification will not adversely affect the reasonable development of adjacent property. All surrounding properties have been previously developed, so this subdivision would not impact surrounding properties. Staff did not have any comments. And the last one, it was about public welfare. Public welfare is protected by the preservation of the only historic tree on the property and by the requirements by town staff to manage stormwater runoff on site. So that is all for this application. I will go back to the site plan. I believe the applicant is here tonight. Yes. And can answer any questions you may have.
Can you point out where that access easement is specifically? I just want to confirm that what I'm reading here is...
That's supposed to be a little bit lower, but that's the beginning of it, is that... Yep.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. All right. So the applicant is here.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. If now would be your opportunity to speak on this topic and provide any background or color you care to. And if you would state your name and your address for the record. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Alan Duncan. I live at 967 Pine Hollow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a few moving parts to this, or have been in the past to surrounding properties, but this seems fairly straightforward to subdivide off that 0.29 acres. The only issue that I'm seeing is the LDR waiver request. If you within the way this road's gone over the years, the way all the properties back here have gone, with the exception of two large creekfront properties, this would be really the last subdividable lot on the road. Within sight of us, across that easement, there are already two lots back there. It's shown on a larger view. But there are two lots within sight of us that are already flag lots. They're already have been built with an access easement like that. So this would be the third LDR lot on the road, and as I say, the final one. And third time's a charm.
Sorry.
Okay. Any other comments or questions for the applicant while we have them available to us?
I would, Mr. Chair. Mr. Duncan, if you could, so the access easement serves, how is that built? Is it just one homeowner? You mentioned that that access easement that comes down inside the property services. Is that right?
Well, really, the proposed access, the ingress and egress, it actually would be at the bottom of these plats, and the access would the ingress and egress would be out to the 50-foot easement.
Okay.
So the LDR waiver request would be for that stretch at the bottom of these two plats to access the 50-foot easement.
Okay. So the owner, so there's a property owner that owns the 50-foot ingress egress easement. Is that 921 Pine Hollow?
Let's see.
And have you spoken to that neighbor? I guess that was my question.
Yeah, the owner of that easement. Well, I mean, if would the easement be owned? I guess it would. So if it's owned by anyone, it would be the Madisons there at 980 Pine Hall Road.
Okay.
And 980 was approved a couple of years ago for subdivision into 5 parcels.
Okay.
From talking to the owners, I happen to know that they're not now going to follow through with that subdivision at this point. But the proposed easement, or the LDR waiver request, would apply to an ingress and egress across the bottom of these two plats. And the Joe Kessinger from Weeks in Irvine has, as you mentioned, written a voluminous opinion on whether or not it would be feasible, and he seems to think it is.
Okay. And just to clarify, so you had stated you live at 967, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So you live in the house. Okay, and that's your...
We've been there 25 years.
25 years.
And my wife built the house in 1992, 93. So we know there's never, and given that history, there's never been any issues, and the title, as the attorney mentions, the title insurance company seems to think it would be protected and so forth and so on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
But still just some confusion. So, if access is at the bottom of what we're seeing here on this rectangular box, so people would come down what's labeled the gravel road above, come all the way around, or will they come from the what's on our, well,
they would come straight down Pine Hollow Road.
All right, and then take a right to get access to that.
No, they would come down, and then they would come down to the end of the Pine Hollow Road, and then take a right to get to the lot.
Okay, and then there would be a reconfiguration of the gravel drive that we see here on the plat. Is that right?
Yes, and apparently, from looking at the new survey and is that looking at the new survey here that's in front of us, there is an option to access from that private ingress egress easement. There is an option, but it's more because of the width of that road there. It seems more likely that we would want to come down Pine Hollow and access where that current, just below where that current gravel drive is.
Okay, so I think you've addressed it, because that's where my confusion was. I see the gravel road. My assumption was it was going to wrap around from that.
No, we would essentially be moving the gravel road about 50 feet towards the bottom of those two plats.
Right, that's the other gravel road. I'm speaking to the one to the north that wraps around to the west, and assumed that it would come back yet again toward the east. But you're telling me that that's not what you're proposing, or that's not the notion, but instead the access would be lower, meaning to the south off of Pine Hollow Road.
Correct.
Okay.
Do you currently have a garage at your existing residence?
There's no garage.
And where are you going to park after the kind of potential reshaping of this? How's that?
As you can see where the structure is, we would probably be parking for at least initially we'd be parking where we are now, which is in the yard, down to the southwest there of the lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
There's a gravel area, of course, that we have, but then the,
So to get fire or
Right.
to get fire or EMS or something, they would have to come through the other lot into yours through that driveway.
yes. Just as I mentioned, just as up Pine Hollow Road, just really right across that gravel road, there are 2 flag lots there already that have been there. One of them was one of those flag lots has been in existence for at least 20 years. The other one came into existence about 10 years ago when the properties across the road were subdivided.
We don't like them, even though some exist.
Yeah.
And I'm a little confused. There's a whole bunch of consent letters. Was that? These are from 35 years ago, that relate to the subdivision of that 980 property that you were talking about.
Right.
That has really nothing to do with this, though, right?
Not at this point. Joe Kessinger also wrote an opinion about that, and that statement that was requested, I guess, at the time, was asking to subdivide the original 980 into 4 lots, and they got approved from neighbors. But since then, it has already been approved. There's been some. All those properties have already been sold, but the bottom line is, since that letter was written, it's already been subdivided. It's already been approved for subdivision into 7 parcels. So we're just asking for 1 more, which would be number 8 from the original 980.
Right. I was just confused as to why these things were even relevant to you.
It just popped up because
those people don't even exist anymore. They're probably all sold.
We just submitted they just submitted what it was asked for at the time, and the question came up, and it doesn't seem to be an obstacle as far as the attorneys or the staff at this point are concerned, from what I can tell.
One more question: Does Pine Hollow that connects these other lots, does it connect to Cavalry Circle?
It does not. Cavalry Circle terminates at a cul-de-sac there, and then you walk as far as from here to the dais to get from Pine Hollow Road.
So only by foot.
So they do not connect, right?
Only by foot.
Right. Only by foot.
Can we go back to the bigger picture, Peter? Can you go back to the bigger neighborhood picture? Yes.
Yeah, so 959 and 965 are the lots that I mentioned that are already granted LDR waiver request apparently. So there's precedent there.
Could I just ask you again, why are you not having driveways come into each of the 2 lots that are proposed to be subdivided from that northern easement, so that it's not one going through the other?
Right. Maybe just because of inertia, because of the way we've always accessed the lot. But I have talked to the potential buyers about this issue, and we're open to the idea of accessing it anywhere, from anywhere from the lot, really. But we were just trying to keep it kind of the way it is, if it's possible. So we're willing to live with either configuration.
You're not sitting here today saying that you know exactly where these future driveways are going to go yet. You don't know technically where they're going to go. You're just trying to subdivide at this point.
Right. Our preference would be to go out on the southern border of 967, but if for some reason that would be considered not desirable by the commission, we're perfectly amenable to accessing from straight out to Pine Hollow. I mean, on the north side of the lot there.
So, question for staff: are we being technically having to approve the sketch plan as drawn, not just approving in concept the subdivision?
Good evening. we assumed that it would be coming off Pine Hollow, both roads, and Pine Hollow is a private road, which means that they would be subdividing off of essentially an ingress-egress easement, and that's why it's before you. What you said coming off the cul-de-sac is also a private road. Now, we were unaware that it was going to be an easement across the back. Otherwise, we would have said the easement needs to be on the plat, shown on there for the subdivision for access to the both lots. So my fault on causing the confusion and not clarifying what he was describing, but as a condition of the subdivision, if this applicant wants to still have an ingress-egress easement going across the bottom, he can have that easement. I mean, he actually will own both lots and can deed restrict both lots to have the easement on it without the planning commission's approval, if that makes sense.
The plan showed an easement on both sides.
It is a that's a drainage easement
on the north side.
Yes, yes, and I apologize for the confusion, but yes, that is a drainage easement, and we should have specified, had we known it was going across the bottom.
This one up here.
That would be a new driveway easement. We just assumed that both lots were going to be, like you said, Miss Ireland, accessing straight up.
And we're perfectly willing to do that. We're perfectly willing to access straight up.
So Kevin, more to come. Kevin,
sir,
more to come technically.
If
we approve this, there would be more to come on site plan later down the road. Is that
if he wants to put an easement on the property, then he would need to do that following your favorable vote. So once you vote tonight, up or down, that approves the subdivision.
Because
he still has access to the front. And you can restrict access to property if it's a safety hazard, doesn't meet conditions, but it would kind of be up to the applicant to do that.
So I was trying to remind myself, I think, Adam, maybe where you're going with this in part, I'm trying to remind myself what we're being asked to do.
That's where I was going. I didn't want to get too far down the rabbit hole.
I go back to the agenda, and it is really whether we are willing to allow subdivision of this parcel.
Right, that's the question.
But the agenda item is the sketch plan, so that's what I
Right.
know.
Sketch plan.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So
sketch plan is kind of a preliminary plat, essentially. They don't have to come back before you for a preliminary plat.
Theoretically, this could be approved under the condition that the access be separately provided from the ingress-egress easement at the
Yeah, and in some cases you can restrict access if a corner lot to both sides as a condition of the subdivision, and that would of course have to be put on the final plat. But it works both ways.
Mr. Mitchell, last question. Well, maybe for me. Just for clarity, so Pine Hollow is a dedicated town right away, but is there a break, and then is that cul-de-sac where it shows Pine Hollow 50-foot right away? Is that town right away?
Both are private roads, from my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, but both are private roads.
Yeah, the state.
See that line at the top?
Up there, that line at the top.
Yep.
Right here.
Okay.
That's where. that's where it turns private.
Okay.
So that's why it's before you, is because it is a private road, essentially making it a condition of a subdivision for planning commission approval from a private road, essentially.
Okay.
Sorry for the confusion. I did not catch that until he was describing his access.
Okay.
I don't mind taking a swing at it.
Okay. Is there more for the applicant before we move to that, Mr. Farrar?
Do that to myself.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. No. So this is sketch plans, no public hearing. Are there questions for staff beyond what we've already asked?
Are we allowed, I believe I know the answer to this, but are we allowed, I thought I heard we were allowed to put some conditions on this. Okay. Just as a point, I think anybody that would own lot C3A would want to have, whether it be a side load or a front entry drive off either Pine Hollow, that should be, good for them, and likely they would want that. And I think that the existing home should have a driveway off the 50-foot private egress easement above, but not come through C3A, because that would be odd. So I would make a motion to approve the request with the condition that lot C3 have access from the Pine Hollow Road 50-foot private egress easement as labeled north facing on the plan.
Mm-hmm. I'll second that. I like that as a solution. People have heard me say in the past, and I think there's some general agreement. I'm not a flag lot person, whether it's a true flag lot or some variation of that. But what Mr. Farrar's proposed, I think, addresses that through that private easement. So. Yeah. So motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion beyond? If not, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries with those conditions. Item 7J, sketch plan, in this case for Ida Road. Wow.
They have to put this together.
All right, moving on. So this is a sketch plan proposal to subdivide a 10.25 acre lot that is an aggregation of 3 different lots identified by the following TMS numbers. They are looking to create 17 single-family residential lots, zone CC. So the red outline is the total parcel after aggregating the 3 lots. And this is located off Boston Grill Road. So it's currently zone CC and is surrounded by county parcels. Future land use is settlement community. So this is the site plan. 17 single-family lots, 3 HOA lots. The green shaded area is the green space that they had to provide per the green space preservation plan. It is 20% of the total lot. We have a slide on that later as well. This is going to be a public road, and there is a type A buffer surrounding the perimeter of the property. There are currently no trees proposed for removal. Proposal is to aggregate 3 lots and subdivide into 17 single-family lots and 3 HOA lots. CC zoning requirements are a minimum of 12,500 square feet, and dimensional requirements are 80 feet width by 110-foot depth. 10-foot type A buffer required around the perimeter of the site. Applicant is required to plant 637.2 inches to meet the tree requirements. They are currently not proposing to remove any significant or historic trees. They are meeting the green space preservation plan requirements with 2.29 acres of undisturbed green space. And stormwater management plan is conceptual and will be coordinated with staff engineers. So this is a better look at the green space regulations. They were required to do 20% of developable acreage. So that came out to be 1.78 acres. They provided 2.29 acres. It is all publicly accessible. For the most part, it is interconnected with the 2 smaller HOA parcels not being interconnected green space.
And would you point out the HOA parcels, please?
It's all of the ones in green.
Everything in green?
Yep.
Okay.
LDR maximum road length for cul-de-sacs or road development subdivisions is 1,000 square feet. This project proposes to create a 1,900 linear foot roadway with a connection to another public right-of-way, which is currently unapproved, and that is Georgiana Street that you see right here. Staff comments from DRT review. Provide upstream drainage analysis for the proposed culvert sizing. Staff recommends some type of traffic calming along the straightaway segment of the road, possibly a raised table crossing for the pedestrian crossing. Applicant is to provide all necessary stormwater permitting prior to the start of the project. Full technical review of the stormwater plans will be coordinated with staff in future DRT submittals. MPW, Mount Pleasant Waterworks, proof of coordination letter has been issued, and the tree requirements, which I mentioned earlier, but they are required to plant 637.2 inches to meet the 160 inch per acre requirement. So I will go back to the site plan. The applicant is here if you have any questions for them, and I'm also here for questions.
You've heard us a number of times over, but if you would introduce yourself by your name and
there you go.
and address. Thank you, sir.
My name is Ryan Williams. I'm with Kellum Engineering, and our business address is 1470 Ben Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And
Kevin Carabin. My address is 618 Leisure Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Vic Brandt, 1509 Galloway Lane, Charleston, South Carolina.
So as was stated, there's 3 existing parcels we're combining and subdividing 13 single-family lots. We've extensively worked on the layout on this to try to preserve preserve all of the grand trees, and we've met with town staff more than once to go over this, and I think we have come up with a pretty well thought out layout for this property. We are exceeding the open space that we're required to have, and I think it will be a great use for the property.
Mm-hmm.
And any questions, here to answer.
Questions for the applicant?
I have a question. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little confused. So if you're not taking down any trees, but you want to replant like 600 trees, I mean, there seems to be a conflict there. Can you explain that to me?
Yes. So when we had the tree survey completed, we only surveyed the protected trees. So there are other smaller trees that will go toward that 600 inches of required plantings. So assuming we move on past planning commission, we're going to have the surveyor go back to the site and resurvey all the trees that would count toward the plantings in these areas that are to be preserved, in all these open space areas.
So existing trees will count toward the 673, is that what you're saying?
It will count toward it, yes, sir.
Count toward that, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this plan what's the color coding on the trees?
Those are tree grades. Blues and greens are usually good trees. The lighter yellow trees are C grade trees, and then the orange and red are D and F grade trees. So it's a lot of good trees on the site.
The green space, certainly part of you guys are providing almost more than double than required. Is the intent to, the plan's so well developed, I figured I would ask, is there any intent to do amenities within this from a pocket park standpoint, dog area, I mean, things of that nature, just out of curiosity? Or do we not know yet?
Would you like to speak to that?
Sure. At this time, we'll be looking into that, and as the plans get fleshed out, and as we get hopefully approval here, we'll then be able to make that happen and have a pocket park. Or yes, it'll be our intention to create dog space.
I just think y'all have done such an awesome job preserving the space that I just wanted to ask the question. Thank you.
Is there an aerial view of this, like a topographic view of this? Yeah, okay. Ooh, a lot of trees.
How is the site 1540 accessed currently?
1540.
Like it feels like you're kind of boxing that one in, but I don't know how it currently has
Speak
access.
up a little bit. I can't hear you.
The lot 1540 is kind of, you know,
They access through 1542 and 1544 currently.
42. Oh, there's a little road there. Okay.
So you don't control Georgiana Street, right? So until and unless that someone who does control it cuts it through and connects it, your development is a total dead-end street, correct?
Yep, that's
Okay.
correct.
So, and the way that I'm reading this, it's about 900 linear feet longer than what the land development regulations allow for dead-end streets.
Yes.
Okay. So normally, under the land development regulations, LDR, Commission has the discretion to grant a waiver of some of the LDR things if there's a waiver requested. I don't see a waiver included in this packet.
There was coordination with our transportation department because they are setting up for a future connection that it's temporarily a dead end, but because they're providing that connection there, the LDR waiver would not apply to this situation.
And who is providing the connection? The state or the developer?
The developer is
Okay.
providing that connection for whenever the state decides to improve Georgiana Street.
So, okay, so there's no problem in terms of safety or getting vehicles through or access and things like that?
No, we will be meeting
It's a really long
the
road.
fire code for turnaround, fire access for turnaround at the end with the cul-de-sac, and for other safety means for the long is might be a little off point, but as they stated, we'll be having traffic calming measures midway through the subdivision.
Do you have a sense as to when that connectivity would be established with that state road or Georgiana Street?
No, we don't.
Okay.
But your plan provides the open door green light for that to happen when they're ready.
Yep, that's correct.
Sorry, what did you say?
I just said their plan provides full access cross through when the state's ready. The door's open for that.
Mr. Fair, that's exactly why they're not asking for a waiver. Is
Right.
because they are making that right-of-way connection. So in theory, they really don't have a cul-de-sac because they're connecting right-of-way with public right-of-way. We don't have the condition in our LDRs. It actually has to be connected with an approved right-of-way, but there will be, and we have the ability to have access all the way through to prevent that from being a dead-end street. So that's the reason why it's not a waiver. They are making that connection with another public right-of-way. So in theory, it is not a dead-end
That's in
street.
theory, but we just never know if that will ever be connected.
Right.
That is true. Or improved. I mean,
Is
but
the 1,000 feet like a safety issue? Like, where did the 1,000
well,
feet come from?
yeah, it's a standard. Many years ago, we were kind of contemplating on that length, but I know it is referenced in some land development and planning publications as a good rule of thumb of being able to control long dead-end cul-de-sacs for just good land planning. And there's a safety component with that. There's also the incentive or de-incentivizing or incentivizing interconnectivity and making future stub outs for future development as well. So that all kind of goes into the land planning realm. And there's nothing real scientific about the actual length. It's just something that is a standard.
So Can you just point me to the LDR section that allows them to do it just by virtue of a stub that, is there in case it's ever connected?
It's 155.048
Yeah. A.
D.
D. Okay. That's what I have to look.
Do
I
we
just
need
need to
to-
be able to.
I don't know if I'm right or not. I know it's 155.04. 8 is the street section.
So definitive.
So, yeah, it's in there. But this did go through our DRT. It did have, and our fire marshal is part of DRT. Our transportation engineer, James Aton, is also part of DRT. Matter of fact, he was instrumental in ensuring that connection was made at a right of way. So it was viewed by the right people to make that
I
decision.
just needed to know where to find it for next
Sure.
time this happens.
Okay.
I like these roadways from.
What is, I guess, like, how do you control, like, if it is connected, then you're just going to have this cul-de-sac in the middle of the street? Like, do you have to include a plan of, like, what's going to be done when you do connect it?
Yeah, there will be just a cul-de-sac left in the street, because it will be Well, is it going to be dedicated there? Yeah, it will be dedicated right away. So there will be a cul-de-sac in the middle of theoretically a street that will go right through, which is, a little odd, but there are tree islands too in the middle of streets and things of that nature. But we can't just stub to an unimproved street without having the ability to turn around like solid waste trucks and things like that. So there had to be a turnaround.
Because, like, the other right-of-way also shows a cul-de-sac.
Yes.
So it's, I mean, it seems like it, in the future, is going to be a very odd configuration.
Yeah.
Well, the other right of way, I would presume that they now would probably not have to put in a cul-de-sac. I mean, the right of way is dedicated, but they could just do a straight road through, theoretically. Yeah.
Okay. Any further questions for the applicant or for staff?
I don't think for questions. I just commend you on working around the trees, and obviously y'all, just I guess surveyed the 16-inch trees and greater for residential development standards. But yeah, I would encourage. I think Mr. Davis had pointed out, and these green spaces, it looks like it's fairly wooded, and so it sounds like your intent is to preserve that. Maybe underbrush or something to make it usable for the patrons, as Mr. Farrar said. But anyway, great job not taking any trees out, significant trees.
Thank you. Okay.
I mean, I don't have any more questions for you.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone care to make a motion, or should there be further discussion?
Well, I was just going to mention that this was annexed into Mount Pleasant a few years back. So sadly, it is part of the settlement community, and it is designated in the comp plan as part of the settlement community in Hamlin Beach. But because it's already annexed in, it doesn't have that historic overlay, which I think gives us certain limitations in what we can do. So that's the only thing I'd point out. That's why it's different in my view, and different from some of the other things we've been looking at that are in settlement communities asking to annex and rezone.
Okay.
So
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I motion to approve the sketch plan as submitted, including staff comments that was detailed for mitigation, etc.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? One opposed. Okay, motion carries. Next is a sketch plan at 781, 785 Dunlow Court.
All right, so this one is a little bit simpler. It's a property line adjustment between 781 and 785 Dunlow Court, further identified by the following TMS numbers and zoned R1. So this is an aerial image and the property line that we are looking to readjust there. all of these lots were platted in 2019. So just reiterating the fact that this is a property line adjustment, not a subdivision. So the reason for this property line adjustment is to relocate the drainage easement and drainage pipe. The red line is the line to be abandoned along with the drainage easement, and the green line is where the property line will be added with the drainage easement on each side. The drainage pipe will run down the middle of that.
Okay.
So it's really here before you tonight because of the tree removals and encroachment. They are proposing to remove a 17-inch live oak in fair condition and a 19-inch live oak in poor condition, and will be encroaching into a 40-inch hickory tree. They have provided a tree preservation plan, which I can show more detail of if you would like. So staff comments, they have provided the tree preservation plan for the encroachment into the 40-inch hickory tree, and they are to pay or plant 13.24 inches of tree mitigation prior to final plat approval.
So again, what's triggering this is the need for improved drainage. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Okay.
I guess I don't really understand that.
Maybe, and I'm guessing maybe the applicant's going to come and talk, but I would assume, or when I looked at this, my assumption was it was to make that southern lot more buildable.
Yes, so if you see the dotted line is where they're proposing to put the house or the building pad, and currently the pipe and the drainage easement are running through that. So they need to relocate it over to the side.
Okay.
I'm confused. Where's the building pad that you're talking about? I see like setback
dotted line. Yeah.
Aren't those just the setback lines?
Oh, yep, sorry. Yes, correct.
So this is all for that, but it's affecting a tree that's not otherwise affected if the line stays as is.
Can you go into more detail about the preservation plan for the tree, please?
I don't know why it's not showing up. I had it in there. But basically, they will be, and I believe the applicant is, yes, can speak to it more, but there will be route exploration that goes along where the drainage pipe will be installed.
So if I'm interpreting correctly, it's still feasible to build as the lot line exists. It just means that that structure would be a more modest size to work within that drainage easement, right?
I can refer to the applicant as to their needs exactly.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah, come on up, sir. If you would introduce yourself by name and address.
Davis McNair, 1206 Pleasant Pines Road. To address that question, the rear yard setbacks on that lot 785 really kind of restricts the potential footprint of that building. So the idea was to adjust the current lot line to just create a little more buildable of a lot. The 19-inch live oak is declining and is in poor health. The 17-inch is being shadowed by the canopy of the 41-inch hickory. There is an option we could explore if it gets a little bit more approval where we could shift that drainage easement to the right, plan right, to have less encroachment on that hickory tree as well as that 17-inch live oak. That would be an alternative approach, but all of this is to create 785 as more a buildable lot.
Are you, I guess I'm not, you're saying like the blue line for the drainage easement, you would just put like another jog in it?
So the blue line itself is the stormwater pipe that we're going to install. The gray dash line that comes at an angle is the existing stormwater line.
I'm saying, like, at some point you could kink it back down, plan southwest to avoid that hickory tree a little more.
Potentially. You're saying just...
Well, I don't know what your proposed alternate that you were just talking about was.
Well, I was saying you could short, so that blue line that extends to the left towards the trees, you could shorten the length of that to have less encroachment onto that grand tree and potentially salvage the 17-inch live oak.
Is it going to connect to something, or is it just an inlet?
So that's to pick up rear yard drainage as well as drainage from the properties on the plan left side.
Okay.
And that drainage pitches toward the street, towards the cul-de-sac?
It would pitch towards the existing curb inlet at the rear of that lot, and then it would go to the junction box within Dunlow Court cul-de-sac.
So yes. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry to use my pen here, but currently that that pipe is running, kind of at this angle, and you've got it shown now, running plan left to right. If you kind of split the difference, does that help? Does that make sense? So putting it kind of more in the middle.
It does. It gives us
every little bit helps.
Yeah, every little bit helps, of course. I still think you're looking at encroachments, maybe less encroachments or impacts.
It sounds like the 19-inch live oak it's
in very
in rough shape. So where I was going with that is if you kind of split the difference in what you're asking for, and the live oak indeed is likely going anyway, then that still may accomplish what your goal is.
Preserve the 17.
Yes, preserving the 17 hickory, and I think you get the house you're looking for potentially. I'm not sure, but you can't put a house on top of the drainage pipe, of course, but there's that's underground, right? It's not going to stop you from putting grass there and plants and trees and everything else. So just something to consider.
Has any of the other lots on this cul-de-sac been built?
They have on the opposite side of the street and the property south of 785, or the bottom lot.
I'm just wondering how you're going to build on the lot to the north. Like that almost.
781, I think he's talking about.
Yeah, it's like
the one to the north.
Kicking the can down the road, it seems like.
I think they'll have to go through a different kind of process with the architectural or the building permit process to get approval for those encroachments. I think our focus right now is really that southern property. And one thing to note, 785 on the southern property to the south, there are 2 trees there as well, 2 very healthy oak trees. And those tree protection zones push the building footprint on this property to the north. One of the reasons we're trying to kind of square off that back corner.
Mr. McNair, I think Ms. Mansour had asked about the preservation on the 42-inch, and I scanned through your packet. I know you had a very extensive. Can you talk about a little bit about what the preservation plan is with all these impacts to the hickory tree?
Yeah, to the hickory tree itself, I think the most important part of that preservation plan is the root zone inspection. I believe they use almost an air disperser, so you're not actually damaging the tree to move the dirt. And during that process itself, we'll make sure wherever that structure is placed does not impact a critical root or the root system of that tree. And then the tree protection BMPs will stay in place throughout the process, and then they'll monitor it for an extended period of time after the fact to make sure that the health of the tree remains. And I actually have a printed copy of the tree protection plan. Thought there's some photos in here. I don't know who the best way to present this, but you don't want to pass it around. This bottom photo shows the health of the two trees, that being the 19-inch in decline and the 17-inch in the center. And what I'd also like to just pass out, this would be kind of the alternative approach as we work through the tree roots. This is if we were to shorten the drainage run. It has less impact to that 41-inch hickory. And allows for potential preservation of that 17-inch live oak.
Yeah, that's
the challenge there is you're pushing drainage from adjacent neighborhood more onto this property, but from the grading standpoint, we can make it work.
I think it's a variation of what Adam just suggested. Yeah.
We didn't shift the property line as you mentioned, but we brought in that structure to have less impact to that root system. I think it would be a good compromise if we can work through that.
Yeah, I think trees are always pretty hardy, but right, wrong, or different, it'll give it a little bit of cushion.
Give them a chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. More questions for the applicant? Any additional commentary from you, sir? Is that
no?
Okay.
Here to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. As I said just a moment ago, I like Mr. Farrar's, slight modification, I suppose I could characterize it as. And if you care to make it turn that into a motion, that would be.
Can this be approved with just point of information, or can we approve with that change or condition, or do we deny this and have them come back?
Well, that's a good question. I assume that we could. Yeah.
Most certainly you can approve that with a condition as the applicant, I think, has verbally agreed to making that happen, and it'll be part of the minutes.
Describe it adequately.
Right.
Sure.
That's a good point.
Is there
Okay.
Go
ahead.
For staff, is it always an option to pay into the tree bank or plant the tree, or is there any?
That's a good question.
Can you force someone to actually plant the tree?
As long as they meet 160 inches per acre, as long as they meet the 160 inches per acre, their mitigation
Actually on the site.
on the site, correct. And then if they are removing significant or historic trees beyond that, they would.
How would you calculate that for a small plot like this? Is it for the whole? It's for the whole development.
It would be per lot.
So how do we know if they have the minimum?
Diameters of the trees.
Like these
Well,
other
so
trees
for this one, they would be mitigating for the removal, since it's a property line adjustment, if that makes sense.
So we don't know if each lot meets the 160, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my understanding, this subdivision was approved. Subdivision was approved 5 or 6 years ago, so it met the ordinance at that time. To speak to that, the NPDES permit is still active on this development. So we will be doing all the work under the previous land disturbance permit. I don't know if that assists. I don't know if there are 160 inches on there. My guess is there are with the grand trees that are protected. I believe the previously presented plan, if it's modified, there would only be roughly 4.5 inches of mitigation required, with the modification to keep that 17-inch live oak. If removed, 13 inches would be required. Our goal is to plant that on site in the front yard.
So isn't that part of the building permit process that you have to show what you need, if anything, to take out, and then they count the number of tree inches and.
That is correct.
Yeah, so it's part of the the building permit itself.
this application though, it says, was that the staff recommendation or the staff comment about paying or planting? Or
So
is it in the application?
yes, they can pay into the tree mitigation bank, or they can plant.
Corey, not,
I just worry that everyone pays in and then no trees get planted.
theoretically, I think that you pay into the town mitigation bank, or we got a tree preservation committee member here, but then the town plants trees with those funds.
Yeah, and I think the town encourages mitigating over putting into the tree bank. So our goal is if they have to mitigate like the 19-inch oak tree, we would encourage replanting on the lot. And the tree task force that's what we're currently working on now, is tweaking or tightening up the ordinance so that it goes more toward replanting.
right,
And we
yeah.
are looking at taking the tree bank and replanting throughout the town. So right now we are.
And I think that's what the applicant, in this case, I think that's what the applicant has
Yes,
proposed.
and
The good news is what I'm
it's
gonna,
in line with that
Yeah.
that vision
Right.
for the town.
the good news is the motion I'm going to propose, he has the flexibility to leave the 19 and the 17 alone and address that at a later date,
Right.
if he wants to, or if his grading contractor, when he repitches the soils, says, hey, we need to do something here.
Mhm.
So I was going to make a motion, if that's okay, to approve the application with the modification that where he's demonstrating that drainage box right below where it says Live Oak 17, he needs to move it outside of the illustrated tree canopy line, or to that line, on the same line.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. So shorten.
So just shorten it by 55%.
Yeah.
Effective, or 45% rather.
Okay. I'll second that. Anybody have questions of Mr. Farrar regarding the motion? If not, we'll call for a vote. Okay. All those in favor of the motion and the modification recommended or requested by Mr. Farrar, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next is a sketch plan at 647 and 650 Ellis Street.
Yes. This is a request to subdivide two existing lots to create three new existing lots. They are currently zoned R1. This is a bird's eye view. I thought that kind of important to show you all the location and proximity of some of the uses. This is almost directly behind the Moultrie Middle School. There's a recreation field. There's also an access of their back parking lot right there. So there is a little bit higher increase of pedestrian and vehicular traffic in this particular area because of the adjacent land uses. This shows the zoning R1. It's pretty consistent throughout. It's adjacent to AB, which is the Moultrie Middle School, of course. But as far as the consistency, is R1 is still there. Future land use, residential, and that's fairly consistent as well. This slide shows you a comparison of what they're doing, so you fully understand what the proposal is. On the left side, it shows the existing conditions. The red is the existing property lines, and you can see the trees and the structures on that one. On the right side, it shows where the new lot is going to be. So basically, you're taking backyard and backyard, and you're aggregating, and you're creating one lot from there. It actually does have frontage on Bellevue, so there is no need for a ingress egress easement there. This shows the aerial, so you can see the clustering of some trees along the back property line and the current conditions. There's some new builds there. You can kind of tell the difference in the roofs in the surrounding area at that location. And of course, the new houses appear to be a little bit larger than the older houses, of course. This shows it's superimposed basically on where this is going to be on the aerial, so you get a little bit better perspective on that. Staff summary, aggregating two lots, creating three. R1, 10,000 square foot. The lot is proposed to front Bellevue Street. The applicant is requesting a waiver to not meet the dimensional ratio of the land development regulations, which is 155.047C91. The lot's wider than it is deep. It is 88 feet deep, 135.5 feet in width. During the DRT review and the feasibility review, Mount Pleasant Water Works did note, and what this part of the staff report is that the applicant, if found in favor by Planning Commission, would need to extend a hydrant within 300 feet of the proposed building. Currently, there's not one. So that would be a condition prior to the authorization of a final plat. Going through some of the waiver comments and the responses to there. A1, are there topographical constraints such as wetlands, critical areas, unusual conditions such as the presence of historic trees? The response from the applicant: there are significant tree protection zones to both the northeast and southwest sides of the proposed property that limit the ability to build toward the property line on either side and would extend well beyond a standard 10-foot side setback if these ends of the property were to be considered the sides. So as a result, I think it's referencing the zoning code, where when you do have a shorter side, on the sides, that shorter side can be the front and the rear setbacks, so they're 30 feet from the sides. And then what would be, if you're standing on the road, the front and the back would then be the side setbacks, which is 10 feet. So that's being referenced here. I know it's confusing. Yes, sir?
That's just for corner lots, though.
No, sir. It's for lots that are configuration where the shorter sides are on the side and the longer sides are on the in this configuration. So there's an exhibit in 156 in the back there that demonstrates where how you measure the front and sides on those type of configured lots. And that staff comment. Just some commentary here. A good example of an unusual condition such as the presence of a historic tree would be the proposed configuration of the lot would be more beneficial to help preserve the trees or preserve canopy damage from the home construction. That would be the reason why the configuration would be needed. That was an example I provided as an unusual condition or extenuating circumstance that would help justify the width to depth ratio. The next question is about the provision of this section is unreasonable, in conflict with public interest, or practically impossible to demonstrate by the following. The applicant's response: the Bellevue Avenue lot would match the lot shown in the zoning code in diagram. That's the diagram I was telling you about. And the request is to have the setback lines applied as indicated on this diagram. That's the front and back on either side. If the Bellevue Street side of the property were considered the front instead of a side, and the front and rear 30-foot setback were applied to the property along the sides, the remaining buildable area would only be 27 feet deep in depth by a very wide buildable area, which would create a condition unlike the surrounding properties and resulting in a house that would not fix the context of the neighborhood at all. It does get a little confusing. Staff comments on this particular one is applicant could use the justification of being in between two defining constraints. One constraint would be the Bellevue right-of-way. He obviously cannot extend into the Bellevue right-of-way to make his lot conform. The second could be the establishment of a subdivision of Moultrie Heights that was recorded in 1946, 80 years ago. So therefore, without incorporating more area behind him into the Moultrie Heights subdivision, he is constrained by those two conditions. So without the incorporating of that area from the adjacent lots, the proposed lot is confined to a depth not meeting the standards of LDR. That just gives you another perspective on what is confining and might be in compliance or might satisfy that unreasonable and in conflict condition there. So A3, the modification will not adversely affect the reasonable development of adjacent property. Again, this modification would create more buffer between 647 Ellis Street and 650 King Street, and that is referencing the larger side setbacks now, which would improve the development of those properties. The side property line that abuts 653 Ellis Street and 656 King Street would still have a 10-foot side or 10-foot setback, as there currently would be for any house built on 647 Ellis Street and 650 King Street. So that does not change the ability of those neighbors to do any development work. Staff comment, the addition of a new lot reduces the development potential of the existing lots fronting Ellis and King Street, obviously because of the back rear setback is now closer to the house, less developable area. Did I just? No, I did not. So the last one is the public welfare and interest of the town shall be protected. Again, setting the setbacks for the new Bellevue Avenue property per the diagram would result in the development of a house on this site that would be more in scale and proportional with the other houses in this neighborhood and on the specific block, in particular 1275 Bellevue Avenue, which would be directly across the street from it. It prevents a house whose scale and massing is in conflict with the neighborhood, thus protecting and preserving the intent and spirit of the regulations. So staff comment, public welfare is generally not impacted as a result of one lot being added to this area. However, the proposal does increase density. The addition of the lot will increase vehicular trips and the change the development pattern of a well-established neighborhood. So there is those conditions added on to what the applicants responded to. So for that one, but I do believe he is here. The applicant is here, and I'm sure he can expand on some of these comments too. So
thank you. Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm Jeremy Kruska, live at 1528 Old Village Drive here in the beautiful town of Mount Pleasant. I'm here on behalf of Andrew Hunter, who is the owner of 647 Ellis Street, and who is obviously present here tonight as well. This process began over the summer when Mr. Hunter sat down with Michelle Reed, who's the director of planning here, obviously, and was talking to him about what options he had with the 647 Ellis property. And she had kind of planted the idea in his head of studying this concept of possibly creating a situation where he could subdivide. So he spoke with Mr. Tolles, who owns 650 King Street behind, and they have an agreement for him to purchase 50 feet of the rear of 650 King Street. I have copies of letters from Mr. Tolles that describe that and support this application, but in doing so, give the ability to create 3 independent R1 properties that all meet all the criteria of the R1, lots. Something similar was done directly across Bellevue in 2017 when portions of the rear of 633 Ellis and 637 Ellis Street were, the rear of each property were separated and combined to create 1275 Bellevue. So there is a property that's basically directly across the street from where we're proposing to have the new Bellevue lot, which would be the middle lot of these. In looking up and down Ellis Street, most of the homes on that 2-block stretch range from about 1,000 square feet to 3,200 square feet or so. Same with that stretch on King Street. And then looking on Bellevue up and down that couple block area, those homes are all generally around between 2,000 and 3,500 square feet as well. The existing 647 Ellis Street lot is 18,398 square feet, which at a 35% building coverage would allow 6,439 feet of building area. So a lot of buildable area with a 35-foot limit. So I mean, you could build a house on that lot currently that would relate more to Moultrie Middle School than it would to any of the houses nearby. So what Mr. Hunter would like to do is create these 3 properties so that in lieu of building something larger in that one, he would have the ability to build a home on, or build a house on Bellevue for himself, and then build a house on Ellis Street that he would sell, each of which would be closer to 3,000 square feet. So it would relate directly. I mean, the house 1275 Bellevue, the one I was referencing earlier, is a 3,400 square foot home. So this would relate to that. It would relate to the house that's currently built on 633 Ellis Street. So the goal is just to kind of create homes that are more in scale and character with the neighborhood, or at least the direction the neighborhood is going at the moment. As Mr. Mitchell mentioned, it does require an LDR waiver because of the Bellevue lot, and as per the diagram that was referenced, or the figure 156 or 0.1646-1, because this is a wider and shorter lot, we would request to have the setbacks relate to, the longer and narrower, which allows us to build on that site, especially because there is a grove of trees, as you saw in the aerial view earlier, that we can move away from that, bring it closer to Bellevue. So, we think with this submittal, it allows and kind of actually limits those properties to result in new homes that are more in kind, again, with the neighborhood, more in scale and more fitting, and we get a shiny fire hydrant out of it as well. I think that the density, Mr. Mitchell mentioned the density, it does add one house, which would be one vehicle. At least by the way Mount Pleasant calculates, vehicular density loads. With regard to stormwater, we've been working with an engineer, so it doesn't change the overall coverageability of those. And we've been working with Shannon Harris, the arborist, to make sure we're being very, mindful of the existing trees. So appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Quick questions for the applicant while we have?
Not for the applicant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, discussion, comments?
The only thing I would say as a point of note is looking at Fairmont, which is a block away, and Simmons here on the other side, is that both of those streets have roughly on the same sort of length or depth of those streets, have 3 homes. Simmons has 4. Bellevue has 2. The ones in question. There are some others that within the community that are more in keeping with what's currently there, but just noticing as you're exiting out of the community towards the GDC and towards the school, it seems to get a little bit more dense towards Ellis Street. It's just something I noticed.
I'm looking at the properties right next door on both King and, so 653 and 656. And the ones beyond that, they're all the same size.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a fairly significant size house on 656 with a pool, etc. It's not to say that those can't be built, but I don't see any benefit to adding another lot here. And I also don't really understand, there is a grove of trees there, but it's going to be right smack in the middle of, or on the one half of the new lot if it's added. And it adds additional trips. Any house is going to have, I'm sure, at least 2, if not 3 cars. Everybody seems to have many cars these days. So I don't think that the criteria under to give a waiver under the LDR are met, in my view.
Yeah, I agree with Ms. Ireland. I think that the statement of the one of the previous slides, staff comments, I think this does deviate from the development pattern of that immediate area. And I'm just, I'm concerned about that. Yeah.
Mr. Mitchell, if you could, can you go to the site plan
Sure.
page? Because I did have yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I did have questions as well about the trees, and I think Jeremy had just mentioned. So, my first question: the property to the north, 647. Are we creating a setback concern with the existing structure, or is the intent to demolish that house, I guess?
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to establish that property line without that being removed, or the back half of the property would be removed. And there's some sheds too that would also have to be removed. So yeah, you couldn't create a new property line where it actually created a zoning violation.
A hardship.
That would be a zoning violation. Yeah.
And then as far as the trees go, and just trying to compare these two, I mean that 42-inch live oak obviously on Bellevue sticks out, but I mean I guess at this level, the trees and the impacts of those related to would be a requirement at site plan review for post.
Yeah, they would be. That's when you would have a home build submittal, a building permit submittal, and then the impacts would be reviewed at that time.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Sure. I mean, applicant.
The way that we determined where the property line that would subdivide the existing Ellis Street site with the Bellevue was we went to the edge of the tree protection zone of that grove of trees, and then basically split the difference between that and the corner. So it's not three necessarily equal. The central lot is larger. The Bellevue lot would be larger than the Ellis Street lot to try to shift as much as possible away from the trees. And we did, laid out building area before we submitted any of this, just to make sure we could construct a house that was clear of all tree protection zones within that lot.
Thank you. As I said earlier, I appreciate all the sensitivities, and there's logic. I think this parcel could sustain the additional home. I just, again, think since we're deviating from the development pattern in that immediate area, that's where I have real reservations, and I just have a hard time supporting the proposal. But I'm one vote.
So, he's the applicant. Are you the applicant or the property owner?
Okay, yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'm Andrew Hunter, and I live at 906 Royal Avenue in the old Mount Pleasant. I apologize for my voice. So right across the street on Bellevue, it's already been done where they split the 2 lots into 3 lots. So when you're saying it doesn't fit the character, you've already kind of set a precedent where that was allowed to be done. So literally straight across the street from that middle lot is the house that you'd be looking at that's already happened to.
I appreciate the comment, but what you've just done is proven my point. I don't want to continue that pattern. Well, that was my statement earlier.
Understood. But I've lived there for 28 years, and I see all the other areas that you've allowed it to happen and continue.
We haven't. Somebody did.
Understood. Well, and I'm not against it. I'm obviously, as Jeremy said, I'm going to build the biggest house on the existing lot if you don't allow it. So it doesn't really fit. But like on Erkman, you built the 5,200 square foot, and you're getting these monsters where I really think what we're proposing does fit the character of the neighborhood. I understand the argument about extra cars and so on. The only other thing I wanted to point out is the trees that you see that are on the backside of 650 King. When you do the new lot, that is part of the 30-foot setback from the side. So all the protected trees, there's 3 oaks in there. None of that would be unbuildable area and would exist the way it is now. So hoping you may consider other people's support trying to do this. Thank you.
Okay. Thoughts? Proposals?
Was this?
Motions?
I have a question. Was this posted with like a yellow sign? No. Because I just
zoning code, zoning changes, they follow state code by posting and advertising. This is just on the agenda, which actually is on our website and does get out there.
Neighbors wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you had support of your neighbors, that would mean a lot. But since we don't know, we don't know.
We have a letter from the owner of 650K.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's directly involved. Or they are directly involved.
Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, sir.
And I apologize for making you double back on this, but
Sorry.
can you touch on the depth again, the 87 or 88 feet depth?
Yeah.
Just to clarify, because that's the only thing that's kind of sticking in my mind. That I know you mentioned it. And I
Yeah.
apologize for missing it.
The depth is measured from Bellevue back in that direction. So that's 88 feet, and then this is 135.
And what's the logic behind that depth is allowed or not allowed? It's supposed to be that deep
Well,
or more?
the minimum width for R1 is 80 feet, so they
Okay.
meet that minimum width.
Okay.
So dimensionally,
Yeah,
it is an R1 lot.
Yeah,
I understand.
Dimensionally, it's
Okay.
not. The
Thank you.
waiver is the width is wider than it is deep.
I see.
So that's the way.
Thank you.
yeah.
Are there, I forget on the plan, were there other examples of that with those other redeveloped lots?
Other examples of lots that are wider than they are deep. I mean, you can see for yourself. I can't find one. They're rectangular, and most of them in front of a right of way.
I think Simmons, you could see a couple there, Kevin, where you know when the pink 425 Simmons, 501, 511.
What is pink? That's
commercial.
commercial. Yeah,
lots.
that's that,
Coffee
that
house.
white building there. But
They
yeah,
have corners,
501. But there's there's not many, obviously, and it was 80 years ago. It was established, and that's just the way it's always been that way on this particular block. So
What my thought is, Mr. Bennett is with, and I think Miss Ireland mentioned this, 653, 656. I don't know how enthusiastic they would be about the vibe with that and seeing another rooftop. That just, it's like on one hand, I see that it can fit, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes just because something fits doesn't mean you should do it.
Right, yeah. That's where my head is.
Yeah.
100%.
Density unless there's a real
Yeah.
purpose for it that justifies, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't see why the exception should be given in this case.
Yeah.
That whole block is, the 5 across on both on King are very uniform. And again, we don't want to start creating precedents on that side of the street, and then it starts going domino effect.
Yeah, it seems like every
If we're listening to the community, like
community.
Brett and I were at, Mr. Bennett and I were at the ADU discussion last week at Alhambra Hall, the density is a huge concern, especially in this area of town,
Right.
the redevelopment and the density. And I think we have to listen to the constituents.
I mean, it's no secret I'm a property rights person, but but this just kind of feels a little bit out of context for me.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Farrar. Okay. It sounds like there's some consistency of view there, so maybe we'll call for a motion.
I move to deny.
Okay.
Second.
From Ms. Mansour. Okay. All those in favor of denial say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to denial?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Motion carries. All right.
All right, y'all. We're on the home stretch.
Yes, sir. Rules of procedure, which actually, believe it or not, I read pretty thoroughly because I like to do that each year, and I didn't follow as much of it as I needed to tonight. But I'm glad that you're driving us to do this at least every January.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank goodness we've got Lynette and Michelle and other people to grab you by the arm and or sometimes my feet reorient me.
So this is the adoption of the 2026 Rules of Procedure. Mr. Davis reached out and we just talked about some of the recent updates in history, and just to give a bullet point real quick, March 2023, the correspondence deadline was extended from 2 business days to 3 business days prior to the meeting. It increased the time and it kind of restricted some input, and kind of want to know if y'all still felt that this was working, or if you would like to shorten it back. If any input on that would be great.
Our meetings are on Wednesday, right? So
Correct.
3 business days would be Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I mean.
Sorry, the way it reads, close of business, typically on Thursday, because you can't accept the date, so you don't count the day of, you count Monday, Tuesday, and the Friday. So the Thursday close of business, I know I don't accept correspondence past that point.
Okay.
Previously, it would be close of business Friday.
Okay, I didn't see where it says close of business, so.
Peter, just to ask, I don't know how or why this originated, maybe it's not poignant, but would it put more pressure on staff to be at 2 days? I mean, I think giving people time to give us feedback if they can't attend a meeting or something pops up is a good thing to do, but I didn't know if there was a reason or it.
No, there was a former commission member that wanted to establish the 3 business days. I'm fine with 2. More public input, is always better. So
yeah, that's healthier. I completely agree. And my assumption has been that it was just difficult for you to manage all that. But if it's not, I'd rather go to the shorter window.
I mean, on the Historic District Preservation Commission, we would get stuff after the deadline, and the staff would they'd give it to us and just say it's after the deadline.
Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah.
Earmuffs.
That's how it used to be.
Yeah.
If it's 2, can I just understand exactly what that means in terms? So is it close of business on Friday would be 2 business days?
Correct.
Prior, because we can't count the day of the meeting.
Correct.
So to clarify that even further, that means, Peter, they would be receiving the correspondence on Monday.
Unless they stay late on Friday.
That's making, because that means that he might send us correspondence after he sent us packets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We always, that's always going to be.
Yeah.
Nothing we do, though, gets a yellow sign, is what it sounds like. So people literally have to be in the know about it somehow.
It's only the public hearing get a sign.
Yeah.
My concern is just sometimes what I do is I look at the agenda and I get all ready, and then I find out later that things are different because I didn't look recently. So I'm just concerned that I'm not having enough time to really give it time to look and to consider everything.
Sure.
The weekend helps,
Yeah, the weekend does.
It does.
Correspondence is fine, like on Monday, but the
Good deal.
agenda.
Yeah. I think it's given the
helpful to have that by end of day Friday.
I think it's given the public more opportunity to give us some feedback and background if it doesn't put too much onus on staff, which I think is
No, not at all.
I don't feel strong.
And of course, in August of last year, we were talking about ways that commission members can add things to the agenda for the next meeting, and that was revised, and so I haven't had any issues with that.
How is that done? Like, we would always, that'd be the last thing we would do at the Historic Commission, would be like ask commission members what you want on the next agenda. But I don't see that being done here.
It's much more formal.
we email you directly or something? Is that?
So the criteria is with at least 2 additional sponsoring board members and 15 days in advance of the meeting.
Things have to get published as well. If it depends on what things are, but it used to be that you had to bring something up at a meeting vote on it to be put on the agenda at the next month's meeting. Now this is allowing, with 15 days, for 3 people, a member plus 2 additional sponsoring members, to put something on the upcoming meeting. It saves a month, essentially.
Yep.
Because, well, if there's any more than 3 of us, then it's a problem?
No, it just has to be 3.
It has to be
It can't be 2 people.
I thought like only a certain number of us could talk amongst ourselves or you violate.
That's the difference.
That's a quorum.
Like if 4 people are talking about something they want on the agenda, that's allowed or not allowed?
You're not supposed to have 4 people or more getting together to talk about issues that becomes it's 5. It's 5.
Yeah.
Creates a quorum because there are only 8 of us tonight, but there are 9 people.
Correct.
So 5 people or more is a quorum, and that's not allowed without having it be a formal meeting with a public, meeting.
But that's different from the number of persons calling for.
But isn't that only for agenda items?
That's
Yes,
correct.
exactly.
Not like
I was just
that's
trying to explain about what the
But I'm just saying if we're emailing back and forth and it starts to be like 5 or 6 of us,
we wouldn't.
we don't do that.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, that's a real no-no.
how do 3 of us communicate to put something on the next agenda?
You can email another person, you just can't.
Individually, you can't do it as a
email the
group.
whole commission or a group of 5 people, 4 other people.
Once there's more than 3 people want to email, then it's a problem. Or can it only be 1 person at a time?
More than 4 persons.
If it's 5 people altogether, the person sending an email and 4 others receiving
Yeah.
it, you've got a quorum.
If it feels like a decision's being made at one time, it's wrong.
You can't have you can't have a Zoom meeting or a conference call.
It's not a violation of FOIA to email 9 people.
Right.
What is a violation is to discuss business,
Yeah.
which you can't do. If it's a matter of putting something on an agenda, it's not a problem.
Right.
So
That's not
if you recollect, the way it's written is the way we do it at the council level, and that's why I recommended it last year. It's tried, true, and it works.
Right.
And you need 3 people to put it on the agenda, which means it's not one person bringing something that the other
way
8
out
don't
of
really care
kilter.
about.
Right.
There's at least a minimum number that want to talk about it.
Yeah.
What's great about this is it it's somewhat speedy, and if it's legit, it's legit, and you got some backup, and if it's not, then it just dies off, and we just keep going.
I agree, and I'm probably hypersensitive to this. I don't even like the appearance that we're doing something. That's why I'm ultra sensitive about group messages.
I don't feel bad about saying it's okay to email 9.
I understand the point.
It's about conducting business
Sure.
on items that would ultimately require a vote.
Right.
Talking about putting something on a
Something new that isn't on an agenda.
Right.
Otherwise.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Were there any other recommendations after?
Already has these changes in it. We don't have any new changes that we're adopting.
No new changes, unless there's recommendations. So, all right. We will move to election of officers, and we will use.
We need a vote. We have to vote. Okay, I move to.
Oh, so yeah. Yep.
Second.
As written.
Motion made and seconded to approve the rules for this 2026 year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Move to election of officers, and we will use Robert's Rules of Order. So we will start with the vice chair. And yes, so on the back of your nameplate taped is the ballots. But we'll start with vice chair. But so right now the floor is open. If anyone would like to recommend themselves or advocate for someone else, we are going to be voting on vice chair. So the floor is open.
Okay, I would like to make a statement. So I'm going to nominate myself for vice chair, and the reasons are, next to Brett, I'm the senior member on the commission. I've been here longer than anybody else with the exception of Brett. So I have more experience than anybody else just because of tenure. Also, I was just recently approved by town council for an additional term. So my term will be the last one to expire. Since I'm just starting a brand new term right now. And so, for those reasons, I'm nominating myself for vice chair.
All right. Would anyone else like to speak? The floor is open. All right. So we'll fill out that ballot and we'll tally those up.
Mine. I just dropped mine.
What do we do with these? Do we put them in like the fire and then the smoke comes out? Is that the Pope? We just do. We're doing all of them or just vice?
Just vice.
Just vice right now.
You can't go yet, Adam.
Like, I didn't think we had all this.
Thank you. Don't look.
Change them as they come down. I'm going to be vice chair and chair.
No. Yeah. Yeah. That's a thing, Kevin.
All right. Pam Ireland will remain our vice chair for our planning commission. We will now move to chair of planning commission. The floor is open if anyone would like to nominate themselves or advocate for someone else.
I nominate Brett Bennett.
You're very kind, Gary. Thank you. Appreciate your confidence in me, despite tonight's performance.
All right.
I don't know. You guys are.
Pass these ballots down.
Yeah, sure.
Here's someone.
Oh.
Here's someone.
Dos más.
No, sign it. It's 8:40. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Bennett will remain our chair for planning commission. So thank you all so much. Yeah.
Wow.
Appreciate y'all's time.
Very kind.
Thank you for your service and your leadership.
Makes me wonder sometimes.
I will be.
We're adjourned.
I'll support you anywhere.
I need everybody behind my back. My flanks too.